So these factors actually we have to capture. There are a lot of strategy in place that we are working on. Similarly, we need to strengthen, because if you have a look at the entire textile value chain, I believe apart from the spinning, the weaving and processing and garmenting actually is weak. It lacks a space, scale and technology, possibly skill as well. So there's a need of greater investment in this sector and probably integration of value chain. And in that sense, the recent initiative by the current government of this PM the price scheme would prove to be a game changer, because that is basically bringing the entire value chain at one place at one location, minimizing the location cost. So garmenting and weaving and processing requires a lot of investment. So that is something that we need to do. Then this you need to keep a watch on the fashion trends. Then there's a new upcoming thing of fast fashion industry, where you need to fashion changes every now and then. You need to keep pace with that. India has luckily around 1,200 FFI compliant companies which cater to the FFI sector. We need to bring some more players into the picture. So these are some of the initiatives that if we take, probably we can reach the next level. So I would urge that, and mind you, the only negotiation of trade agreement itself is not sufficient, because I'll give an example of India-Japan SEPA. Right from the day one, both countries, they give zero duty access to these textile and garments, but things did not move in the way it should have. Our exports to Japan did not move because it's not only about duty concession. The point is that what are you actually exporting? Is it what they actually require? So there's the need to set up, what you call design studios in partner countries, so that you can have a feel of the taste that they have. Because the garment requirement is driven by the ethnicity, the demography, the taste, a whole lot of other things. So you need to cater to the market specifically. You need to basically export. I mean, you don't have to export what you produce. In fact, you need to produce what is required, what is exportable. So with that, I would have to end to my small talk. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. With this, I would now finally request our chief guest, Mr. Gangadhar Panda, sir, for his special address, please. Would like to speak from there, sir?
Distinguished dignitaries on the dais, distinguished exporters and esteemed colleagues present here. It's given me a great opportunity today that I can share my thoughts with you people today. And for that, I'd like to thank Noida Apparel Export Fosters, particularly Mr. Navid Thakurji, and Ms. Thakurji, Secretary General, AEPC, for this event. We have been trying to do this event for last couple of weeks, and my colleague Mr. Nitish, two joint directors, and Mr. Saurabh, they have been actively in coordination with the AEPC and Noida Clusters President. We are planning to make a what kind of plan we like to make. That way it would be, fulfill your need and requirements with regard to the government policy and how we can take the apparel sector forward. That is how we have decided, and finally the event has come today. As you know, the India has, from time immemorial, has a significant footprints globally about our apparels. Even the historians say in the Indus Valley time, our clothes have great demand in Mesopotamia. If you go to the Roman Empire time, even then the Indian silk was highly sought after by the Roman Empire. And if you come down the line in the Mughal period, the Muslim silk, which centered around Bangladesh and West Bengal area, that was in high demand across the globe when the global trade started by the European countries. Be that so, if you see today, and if you go to any world-class shopping mart, say Costco or Macy's in US, or you go to any other in the European countries, you could see proudly the Made in India tag hanging in the display section, and that gives immense pride to all of us. So, if you see that way, the India footprints is even now there, and the apparel exports that we have been made in the recent time, it touch around $15 billion on India. If you see it's percentage wise, it's 3%, but in all the more, we have a lot of opportunity ahead by which we can export that. The government policies we have been tuning it so that the apparel exporters get the best benefits out of the exports they can make to different countries. And in this context, if you see where Noida stands today, as Ravitji said, Noida is a new idea now. And this is indeed a new idea because the Noida has changed from its old, I would say, the manufacturing center as the city of apparels. They have named it, and it has living true to its words. The advantage Noida has in terms of, how it's getting out the legacy of Indian tradition of exporting apparels all over the globe. Noida has played an important role because of its locational advantage being closer to the NCR. It is important because it has great connectivity, and Noida is endowed with very dynamic and enterprising business community. The exporters, you all are here, you are enterprising, you have made the Noida map. It's very important in the Indian export scenario. And that's great, and it is supported largely by the skilled labor force. They are there to support your endeavors. That Noida played also major role. And rightly the UP governments, in their export policy, you see, one district, one product. They are not apparel for Noida. It's in their recent policy, and they are living true to it. Even as you see in the Government of India policy, they speak as export hub. From the one of our focus 75%, we have identified Noida out of 3-4 products. Apparel have been one of the most identified products and given top priority for that. So I urge you all that in government, urge you all to take advantage of the government policies that we are planning and purely directed towards how to enhance our export in the apparel sector. For that, you all have to take advantage of that. I can tell you we have a session now. My colleague will be making a presentation as to what are the government schemes that are available to you all. And we are available all the times to give guidance as well. And as Dr. Alji said, we'll have some facilitation center or sometime we will make some arrangements so that we can keep helping you and guiding you as to how best you can take advantage of the government schemes. You see globally, today I was just reading the Economics Times, and if you see the outside data today, in the early part of 2023, there is a growth of 1% in export of goods, despite the dip before that in the late quarter of the 2022. But the signaling is very clear, and the forecasting they have made is in the second half of 2023, they are going to be a real demand in the requirement of goods and merchandise, including the apparels. So here we have a big opportunity for all of us, and India as an exporter, to to how best we can take advantage of the apparel sectors. But to take advantage, as Mr. Thakur said a little earlier, we have a lot of competitors around, like Vietnam, China, Bangladesh. They are trying to take advantage, and maybe so our market share may be at stake. Be that so. The government is aware of it, and we are trying to make policy which should help in put in place an advanced technology. We want to facilitate the efficient supply chain management to make our efforts, make our products globally competitive. And also at the same time, we like to sensitize you all the exporters about the global requirement for the WTO, the labor standards, the environmental protection standards, and safety. Those are the factors that we have to comply with so that our products pass through and get to the destination. Another area where all exporters and the policymakers as we are should be how best we can put in place a system by which we can capture the taste of the global consumers, be it in terms of design, be it in terms of the quality of the product, whether it is the silk or cotton or the synthetic products. So for that, we have to have supporting infrastructures, like the good design center we may need. We may have to have good markets research, and also to know that what are the products they would be requiring in different parts of the globally in different parts of the country, different parts of the group, in the different countries. Also, another factor, what the globally the consumers look for is because of the sensitivity towards the consumers, towards the sustainable and ethical fashion. That has been the key area now, because they try to wear a product which is sourced from a place where the producer, they are sensitive to the environmental and the social requirements, like they are in line with the labor requirement, in line with the environmental requirement. So in that regard, we all have been doing a lot of efforts, and as an exporter, we all have to be in line with that so that our product become useful and will be in demand for all the consumers. Another area that we have a lot of scope, given the challenges from our competing countries, still we have a lot of scope, both for the small and the medium industries, because as you know, the digital market space has taken in a big way during the COVID time. So it is up to us how best we can exploit this digital marketplace. It is where the minimum investment is there, but you have a ready-made market. So it doesn't require a lot of investment. With the small business export houses and the big business export houses, they also can utilize their resources to best exploit this opportunity. And the digital market space, we have the inherent advantage of because of our infrastructure supports. So we can reach out to the global customer seamlessly and exploit the market and increase our market share in the global market, in the globe. In this direction, government has been aware of the scope that we have, and from time to time we have been the DGFT has been putting in place the trade policies, and we are providing different type of policy initiative to encourage the growth of industries, including the tax incentive, the subsidies, and easier access to credit. This has helped to attract not only the foreign investments, and has also led to establishment of several textiles and garment units in the city. And as going through the statistics, around more than 2,500 units are here. But Lalit was telling it's close to 6,000. So that's a very big number. and this industry, and we are the DGFTs here in Delhi, and we are very accessible in terms of guidance, in terms of showing you way as to how best you can take advantage of the policies. About the policy details, I just list out a few which have been targeted towards the apparel sectors, like the Special Advance Authorization Policy, the AEPC policy, a rebate of state and central levies and taxes, and the interest equalization scheme that are designed to promote the apparel sector in particular. My colleague will tell you in detail as to how best you can make use of all these policies and take advantage. In addition to this, the event today, what I was telling in the beginning, because this is a kind of partnership from the government policy side and your federation side, because it is kind of a partnership between AEPC and DGFT, and when Noida cluster is also a key partner. The government and the federation has to work together and in tandem so that the policies reaches to the exporters and we maximize the gain from the government policy and expand our export value. It also helps us in organizing events like this, like the trade fairs we can organize, the exhibitions. And through that, we try to sensitize you on the new opportunities that lies ahead. And when the government of India is talking of a 5 trillion economy in 2025, it is where the role of the apparel sector is even more important. And we are thinking about in the next 5 years probably from $15 billion, our trade export from apparel may reach up to 30 billion, as Lalit Chakraji also said that. So we also have the same ambition from the government side, if not more. And for that, we all have to work together. And from our side, the government schemes, we keep fine-tuning based on the suggestion from your sides. So I urge you all that you keep providing us through your federation or individually reach out to us. You see, you can tell us what are the bottlenecks while availing the government scheme or even otherwise in doing the exports. So in that direction, we will be always available to help you out. And so we all should come together and work with a missionary zeal to achieve the pole position in the global apparel trade and reach out our targets. Wish you all the very best. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your encouraging words. I was noting down the every point that our chief guest was indicating that there is a need of digital market space, there is a need for design center, there is a need for understanding the market trends, there is a need for market intelligence. I'm happy to share, sir. DGFT has requested all the councils, including the Apparel Export Council, to submit a vision document for 2030 for government, and that the last date of submission is tomorrow. So today we are so thankful to Mr. Tukral to have brought all the eminent people from Noida cluster today. So ये आज का जो session है, it is not about sitting and listening. We need to hear from all of you. The government is here, the Export Council is here, the president of the Export Hub is here. We need to together understand that if अगर हमें मिलके vision 2030 बनाना है, and we always keep comparing कि बांग्लादेश अगर $40 बिलियन कर सकता है तो इंडियन 15 या 16 पे इतने सालों से क्यों अटका है. I need to hear from all of you. We have few inputs from our side, but towards the end, please keep noting your points as and when we proceed. इसको सिर्फ monologue नहीं रखेंगे. We want to hear from all of you. Where are we going wrong? As a policy maker, हमें कुछ करना है. As an export council, हमें कुछ करना है. We have eminent speakers who will give you very eye-opening session on what AEPC and the industry experts are together planning, and together as an ecosystem, how can we work towards the goal that my competing countries are working on. So let's gear up for this session today. I thank all of you on the dais here. I request, sir, we are starting our presentation, so we can have your seats. Our first session is an interesting session. आप लोग सारे established exporters हैं. So most of you must be availing this, but I also appreciate that there are a lot of nitty-gritties at the implementation level. So we have our additional DGFT and his team, the Ritesh sir and Mr. Saurabh. I request the entire community to discuss the challenges. Scheme क्या है ये हमें पता है. But what are the implementation hassle to make it more efficient is what we want to hear from you. So let's have the first session from Mr. Pani Kiran. He's an IPS assistant DGFT, and we will have his initial session on the DGFT schemes. Pani, you want to start from there itself? Yeah? Okay. So we'll hear on these schemes, more on these schemes, friends. Let's give him a patient hearing on what government has to offer to all of you. At the same time, keep noting down with every scheme. अगर आपको इसके beyond कुछ ask है या इसमें कोई implementation hassle है, we'll discuss that towards the end. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to be here today. Firstly, I thank my seniors in DGFT and also AEPC for giving me this opportunity to speak about DGFT schemes here. And I thought, before I start the session, I was asking Tamanna ma'am also, what are the kind of audience that I get here today? That they will be established senior players or new younger players that will be coming today. And I got my answer from Ranji when he said we have some really established players as well as some really young guns here. So I thought I'll first give a brief overview about the DGFT, about the performance of the apparel sector, and then I will go on to discuss about the different schemes and measures, other facilitative measures that DGFT is taking to promote exports in general and specifically for the apparel sector. So without much ado, let's get into the presentation. Well, focusing on the three chapters that are important for the apparel sector, that is chapter 61, 62, and 63, as has already been discussed, India has has exported around $15 billion of apparel export, which contributes to around 3% of the world global share. And it is actually a very good achievement given the circumstances in which we did this figure in 2021, coming out of COVID and all. So a huge round of applause to all of you people who has made this possible. And going forward, if you look at the global scenario of apparels and made-ups, India is not really far behind when it has around 37% in the apparels and 17% in the made-ups, which is more or less same as the global trends in the apparel sector exports as well. And if you look at the main markets or the destinations that we are exporting to, we are very much strong in our traditional markets, that is US, UK, and European Union. And we are also not lagging behind when it comes to the emerging markets as well, like Bangladesh and UAE. And now, if we look at the IPC trade potential map for the apparel sector, you can see that currently we still have a untapped export potential of around $11 billion. Now, this is the area that we really need to work on. This is the challenge that we need to kind of make use of this opportunity by overcoming whatever challenges that we are facing today. So we need to get to that figure, that is $25 billion. And with, this is the current untapped potential that I'm talking about. And then if you look at the export potential across the countries, so we have United States, which in which we have only achieved 64.9% of our potential, and there are markets like United Kingdom, Germany, which where we can still show a lot of increase in our export growth. So that is where we should target or focus upon. These are our key destinations that we should target in the next 5 years. And so that being the context, so what is the future plan or the roadmap? For that, we can rely on the 5F vision that was given by our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi. It's like from farm to fiber to factory to fashion to foreign. And where do we, as an apparel sector, come in here? We come in the factory to fashion to foreign area, where we need to focus on those three components. And we, as a DGFT officers, we are going to present on where we pitch in the last three Fs. How, like, through different government schemes and also through different measures, facilitative measures that we are taking from our side, how we foresee that we can achieve this vision. So the first scheme that most of you must be aware of it, but still it is important that we cover this scheme, that is advanced authorization. It is for importing raw materials duty free and then using those raw materials for export. And this scheme has been there for a very long time. And in case you have any questions or issues, we will take it up during the Q&A session. But I will briefly touch upon the main points about the scheme. DGFT, we provide a sector-wise list of standard input-output norms that will also cater to the wastage in each of these products. And the exporters may choose to apply any of these CON norms, or in case they don't want, or like in case their production process doesn't match with the CON norms, they can go for no norms or ad hoc norms. And also the validity of this license that we give is for 1 year, for which the exporter has to fulfill the export obligation in 18 months. And the next scheme here is special advance authorization. This is only for chapter 61 and 62 of IT status codes. This is specifically for the apparel sector. This again is for the duty-free import of fabric. And for the non-fabric inputs, there is a duty drawback as well that you can avail of according to the rate specified by the central government. And the unique thing or the kind of a distinguishing factor for special advance authorization scheme is that it has a pre-import condition. And it can't be done on a deemed export basis. It has to be a physical export. That is one more distinguishing factor here. And again, it's also based on the standard input-output norms or based on prior fixation by the norms company. Now, raw materials are one component of your production process. Understand. The next key component would be your capital goods, and there is a scheme that you can utilize to import your capital goods duty free as well, and that is the export promotion capital goods scheme. And this scheme allows you to import capital goods that are used in the pre-production or the post-production stage at zero customs duty. And the capital goods that are included in this scheme are given in the chapter 9 of FTP. For example, we have like these machines that we use, and also the computer systems and softwares that come with the machines, and also the spares, molds, jigs, etc. And then there is this scheme called the rebate on state, central, and central taxes and levies. That we follow in the international trade one simple fundamental thing, that we never export taxes, we only export the goods. So this scheme is a way of overcoming several embedded taxes that we in India face, and which makes our Indian exporter uncompetitive when it compares to other countries' exporters. So this scheme is targeted mainly to give that advantage to the Indian exporter and to overcome this disadvantage when it comes to the state and central taxes and levies. So this scheme gives a fixed rebate according to the percentage of the FOB value of exports, and it is the rates that are decided by the Ministry of Textile via notifications, and it is reviewed periodically. And the rebate is given in a transferable duty credit slip, which you can use for paying off other duties or for other purposes as well. And then we have the interest equalization scheme, and this again is one more scheme that is introduced to overcome one disadvantage that Indian exporters face, that is access of credit at a more affordable rates. I mean, exporters of other countries have a very easy access to cheaper loans, whereas Indian exporter has to take loans at a very higher interest rate. So to overcome this, we have introduced this interest equalization scheme that gives an interest subvention, so that you can take loans that are at a lower interest rate, which will make your product more competitive in the global market. This is implemented with the help of RBI and through the scheduled commercial banks, whereas it is funded by DGFT. And apart from the government schemes, we have taken a lot of facilitative measures in the interest of e-governance. That is, like, we now have our DGFT portal. This is the DGFT portal, which is a more completely online dashboard-based system. Starting from your creation of the importer-exporter code, whether you need any amendment or modification of your IEC, or you need to get a status holder certificate or certificates of origin, and any of whether you have to apply under any of the previously mentioned schemes like advanced EPCT, in ROSCTL or interest equalization scheme. All of these schemes can be applied online completely. And apart from that, if you have any grievances when it comes to any of the services rendered by DGFT, you can always raise a ticket through the CRM. There is a redressal mechanism. And then apart from that, like Tukralji was asking whether there is any mechanism that they can contact or get to us to solve any grievances. For every scheme, we have a designated stakeholder VC that happens every morning at 10:30 to 11:30. Like for example, advanced authorization grievances can be addressed on Tuesday. Similarly, like every scheme, you can go to the DGFT website and you can check it out. There is a VC link given. You can join the VC link every day morning at 10 from 10:30 to 11:30. Stakeholders can raise their grievances through virtual medium as well without even visiting the office. So that is one new initiative that we have taken up. And then apart from that, in the interest of increasing the awareness about these schemes, we have also come up with the DGFT app, which will give you notifications on the latest policy updates. And any guidance that you require about the scheme or anything, we have the virtual assistant called Bahe, which is again will be there on your app as well as on the DGFT portal. And then we have the YouTube channel for the first time exporters who want to learn from the basics and understand the maze of procedures that people have to follow when it comes to export. You can always go to our DGFT YouTube channel and learn more about it. And then we have this MOOC course, massive open online course that IAFT and DGFT has come up together, where you can do these courses on basics of export and how to go about it. This is one more thing that you can take advantage of. Right. Thank you. And if you have any questions, we'll take up the questions at the end of the meeting. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Pani. Friends, as AEPC, we'll just see a quick slide on what Apparel Export Promotion Council is trying to bring forward to all the members registered with them, and as a council and as a government together. What are we trying to bring home? So friends, let us keep funny jahan se, we are talking about a lot of these schemes, but we see, sir, that, and I need everybody's attention and also your input, sir. India के major export markets, अगर आप देखेंगे, we have a huge presence in. अगर हम अपने export market की बात करते हैं, तो out of the total garment export from India, 20% is only US, and then we have UK, UAE as our next 3 best markets for us. But the most important point of concern जो मैं raise करना चाहती हूँ, A great opportunity is जिस मार्केट को हम बहुत अच्छा समझते हैं, क्या वो मार्केट मुझे उतना ही अच्छा समझता है? So मेरा एक्सपोर्ट तब बढ़ेगा when I am the most preferred supplier to them versus they are the most preferred buyer for me. And that pull factor is what AEPC, NAEC and DGFT together wants to bring. So इस पूरे pull factor को together लाने के लिए what AEPC is trying to understand. सर हमको टारगेट्स मिलते हैं सरकार से दैट आपको इस साल इतना हर महीने जैसे आप अपने सेल्स टारगेट करते हैं गवर्नमेंट हर मंडे वी हैव टू गिव महीने में एक बार वी हैव टू गिव अ सेल्स टारगेट टू द गवर्नमेंट एंड वी रियलाइज दैट जो टारगेट हम लोगों को जो आपने इम्पोर्टेंट कंट्रीज देखते हैं सर जो यूएस और यूरोपियन यूनियन है आई मीन यूएई है they are the most promising market for all of us in times to come for two reasons. Number one, एक तो सरकार ने टारगेट जो फिक्स किए थे that were highest and जो हमारी गारमेंट इंडस्ट्री इसको अचीव कर पाई है that were highest in two. ये दो चीजें दर्शाता है एक तो सरकार के लिए बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट मार्केट है इंडस्ट्री के लिए बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट मार्केट है और मेरा टारगेट भी पूरा हुआ है जिसमें उस मार्केट में भी वी आर एक्सेप्टेड टू अ सर्टेन एक्सटेंट जो बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग मार्केट आप लोग देख सकते हैं इन टाइम्स टू कम are these Australia, then we have smaller markets like Malaysia. हम लोग ASEAN market देखते ही नहीं है. I'll give you the reason why we are talking about these markets. Malaysia है, Canada का FTA negotiate बहुत अच्छे से सरकार negotiation के आखिरी stage पे पहुंच गई है. Canada FTA is also under pipeline and smaller markets like Denmark also is a very interesting market. इधर आप मार्केट्स देखिए सर जो टारगेट पूरे हो गए हैं एंड दिस इज द परसेंटेज ऑफ टारगेट दैट वी हैव अचीव्ड एंड दिस इज द टारगेट दैट वाज फिक्स्ड यूके जर्मनी स्पेन एंड फ्रांस इसमें हमारे टारगेट्स जो काफी फिक्स करे गए थे सरकार की तरफ से वो बहुत ज्यादा थे नाउ आई नीड टू नो फ्रॉम द इंडस्ट्री दैट हमारे टारगेट इन मार्केट्स में उतने पूरे हुए नहीं जितना हमें टारगेट्स मिले थे इज देयर एनी स्पेसिफिक रीजन अपार्ट फ्रॉम द ओल्ड रीजन कि वहां पे रिसेशन बहुत है उसके अलावा भी अगर इंडस्ट्री बताना चाहे कि जिस कंट्रीज व्हिच इज यूके जर्मनी स्पेन एंड फ्रांस में सरकार के फिक्स करे हुए टारगेट से हम अचीव क्यों नहीं कर पाए सेकंड इंटरेस्टिंग मार्केट्स आर सऊदी अरेबिया नेदरलैंड एंड इटली दीस आर वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग मार्केट्स आर the world is moving toward these markets we need to understand why we are not able to meet our targets and we are low on the percentage of target achieved having said so sir we need to see what AEPC is trying to do AEPC, our chief guest has indicated a lot of things. Market intelligence होना चाहिए, design trends होनी चाहिए, forecasting होनी चाहिए. Let us see what AEPC is trying to do. These are the calendar of events. ये calendar of events यहाँ पे लगे हुए in case you want to participate with AEPC. I have brought a list of calendar for you. 22-23 में Market Access Initiative Scheme के तहत AEPC आपको किन कंट्रीज में लेके जा सकता है we are doing this fair in Dubai on 1st to 3rd of May we are commemorating with the government India India UAE के FTA को साइन करे हुए almost एक साल होने को है तो 1st of May last year we have signed this FTA अब इसका एक साल commemorate होगा and we have great plans this plan we would like to tell to the industry sir that we have a Dubai Global Expo building. So we had a meeting with the Joint Secretary yesterday. The industry is invited. Rentals नहीं होंगे. अगर आपको अपने if you want to have space in that building, एक साल तक के लिए कोई rentals नहीं होगा. If you want to cater to the market of UAE, GCC, Saudi के buyers, Oman के buyers, Kuwait के buyers उस building में बुलाए जाएंगे with the support of the government. In case you would want to have space in that building, you let us know. You let know NAEC as a cluster head. You can discuss with him. We will discuss with you the greater details. But this for 1 year is what government is trying to give that building rentals free of cost only for the garment industry to promote their exports across the GCC market. And आपको बता के खुशी होगी सर UAE FTA के बाद अब GCC FTA भी साइन हो रहा है क्योंकि दुबई से काफी ट्रांजिट होके सऊदी ओमान कुवैत माल जाता है so it makes sense कि UAE के बाद अगर हम GCC कंट्रीज के साथ भी FTA साइन कर लेते हैं तो पूरा मिडिल ईस्ट में पकड़ में आ जाता है उसको प्रमोट करने के लिए इस बिल्डिंग का सरकार एक साल तक they're asking industry members to come forward and have the entire views so this उसको प्रमोट करने के लिए 1st to 3rd May we are doing this international apparel and textile fair in Dubai if you want to participate The circular is already out from AEPC. Russia, interestingly, is a very good market, sir. I'm getting calls from the Indian embassy in Russia. कि हुआ होता क्या था, sir? A lot of these European brands, they were dominating the Russian market. अभी रशिया और यूक्रेन के वॉर के बाद a lot of these European brands जो हमसे भी माल खरीदते थे दुबई के रूट से, ये लोग सारे एग्जिट हो गए हैं। अब रशियन मार्केट गारमेंट स्पेस में हो गया एकदम खाली। They have requested that क्या इंडियन गारमेंट इंडस्ट्री यहाँ आके स्टोर्स खोल सकते हैं? They are virtually pleading. Everything is what they are demanding. So AEPC delegation is traveling to Russia in May. We are talking to almost all the top 50 brands, and they want us to manufacture. एक और अच्छी opportunity आई है. There's a very interesting brand from Korea who's looking forward to have joint ventures and distributors in India and getting their brands manufactured. So AEPC is flooded with these opportunities, and we are going to participate 7 to 8 of June. There's a fair called Be Together in Moscow in Russia. If you want, you can participate. Very interesting markets of Europe. So, sir, we have, in order to enhance our exports, sir, आज की तारीख में दो चीजें की बहुत जरूरत है. Number one, can we strengthen our position in US and Europe जो मेरे traditional market है. Number two, industry members अगर हमें बताएंगे, मैम आप आगे आने वाले टाइम में US यूरोप स्टैब्लिश हो गया, but these are the new markets that the industry members would want. We as AEPC can support you in giving UN market access initiative support by the government to help us understand आपको किस market में export opportunity की जरूरत है. As a council, we will give you the subsidies from the government for that particular market. As of now, ये products and market मेरी list में है. We have Dubai, we have Russia, we have Italy, then Tokyo. Japan is a great market, sir. AEPC ने अभी एक reverse buyer seller meet किया था. I'm very happy to share with you. अभी 10 और 11 को हमने किया था. Most of you must be aware. Sir, 2 दिन में 47 crore का business generate हुआ है. 84 buyers, very senior, except a big brand like Uniqlo, जो कि बहुत फंसी है. But we had Muji, we had Toyosima, we had Tamurakomo. All these trading companies were in Gurgaon, right at your doorstep. हम ये repeat करते जा रहे हैं again in the month of September and October. उसके साथ साथ हम ऑस्ट्रेलिया और न्यूजीलैंड के साथ अगर FTA साइन हुआ है, उसके भी 100 बायर्स इंडिया लेकर आ रहे हैं again in the month of October. ये यूनिक अपॉर्चुनिटीज हैं जो आप लोगों के सामने AEPC लेकर आ रहा है in the next 1 year time. Then we have US, which is again one of the biggest fairs in 7 to 9 August, and Spain, Germany, Australia again. We call them here and then we go and meet them again in November to Australia. And we also have a new market of South Africa. हमारे साथ you can go and meet buyers in 2 cities of South Africa, which is Cape Town and Johannesburg. They are looking forward for getting a lot of these Indian garments to African market. These are the domestic events, as I said. We are trying, and very interesting, sir. Export बढ़ाने के लिए या तो हम नए मार्केट में जाएं या पुराने बायर को कुछ नया दिखाएं, right? तो पुराने बायर को कुछ नया कैसे दिखाएंगे is what AEPC is trying to do through a concept called as source zone. हम दुनिया भर से फैब्रिक सप्लायर्स को लेकर आ रहे हैं. सर, ताइवान से लोग आ रहे हैं, कोरिया से लोग आ रहे हैं टू अंडरस्टैंड कि नए नए फैब्रिक्स क्या डेवलप हुए हैं. तो अगर चाइना उन्हीं फैब्रिक्स को बना के एक्सपोर्ट कर सकता है, तो कैन वी एक्सपोज अवर इंडस्ट्री फॉर न्यू फाइबर्स एंड फैब्रिक्स एंड इनोवेशंस दैट हैव कम. तो AEPC आपको सोर्स जोन की तरह नए फैब्रिक्स को एट योर डोरस्टेप इंडिया में लाके गुड़गांव में will bring all the global companies जो कि नए फैब्रिक्स को डेमोन्स्ट्रेट करेंगे. तो सोर्स जोन है. Then we have Australia, as I said, and also Japan, जो कि गुड़गांव में इवेंट है. And that is helping us. सर, आज की तारीख में इंडियन अपैरल जो सप्लाई हो रहा है, we went to Japan and we figured out that these are the companies that you can target in Japan. They are ready to buy from you. आप इसका फोटो भी खींच सकते हैं. These brands are more than happy. They were so excited to come to India, and they were so happy to see the diversity of India that we have. हम एथनिक भी कर सकते हैं, हम सिंथेटिक्स भी कर सकते हैं, हम विस्कोस भी कर सकते हैं, and they were so happy to see the entire list that it also gave a very good feedback. Marubani gave a very good feedback. Sir, जो ठुकरार साहब बोल रहे that we have to take our industry to the next level. AEPC, NAEC, all of us together can really do wonders. So we have, अगर आप यूरोप जाते हैं, we have targeted all these best of the best companies. Japan, all these companies, आधा तो आपने नाम भी नहीं सुने होंगे, and they're such beautiful companies. And then we have all these. We are traveling to Canada now. We are traveling to all these parts of the countries to get best of the buyers at your doorstep in India. Now, let us now give. सरकार अपना काम कर रही है सर, क्या इंडस्ट्री भी अपना काम कर रही है? Is what I want to bring home the point now. So enough of good news. Let us get the alarming figures. And where is my presentation and subsequent speakers later? Sir, this is a very serious issue that I'm going to tell you, sir. आप देखो सर, हमको लगा कि अगर हम बांग्लादेश जितना 40 बिलियन नहीं कर पा रहे तो उसका कोई तो कारण होगा. We are moving ahead. हम खुद से कंपेयर करें तो शायद 12 से 13 पहुंचे, 13 से 14 पहुंचे. At the end of the day, हम 15-16 से आगे क्यों नहीं बढ़ पा रहे? And I would want all of you to please participate in this discussion. तो हम लोगों को लगा ऐसा काउंसिल, क्या हम लोग गलत मार्केट में जा रहे हैं? Then I realized नहीं यार, top 10 garment importers are the market जहाँ हम भी जा रहे हैं. लेकिन सर मार्केट मैच करना जरूरी नहीं था. जब हमने यूएस के बायर से बात करना शुरू किया, then we realized हम तो उसके 5वें या 6वें या 8वें प्रेफर्ड बायर हैं, सप्लायर हैं. अगर आप यूएस में देखो सर, चाइना का 25% शेयर है और हमारा 5 पे अटका हुआ है. आज से नहीं, पिछले 5 साल से, 6 साल से, 10 साल से. यूके देखिए सर, एक्सेप्ट फॉर वियतनाम, अगेन बांग्लादेश एंड चाइना बेटर देन अस. तो हम फिर किस बात को लिए इतना रिजॉइस कर रहे हैं that we have 3500 factories. It is good that we have such big factories, but I think we have more to do what we are currently doing, and we have the potential to do that. Now, how can we together come, sir? If you see, धीरे-धीरे इंडिया खिसक के कहाँ पहुँच गया है. हम लोग 2017 में सर वर्ल्ड के 6वें सप्लायर थे. ये मेंटेन रहा 18 में, ये मेंटेन रहा 19 में. टर्की मेरे से आगे आ गया 2020 में. आप बोलोगे कोविड था, तो फिर टर्की के लिए भी कोविड था, तो वो कैसे आगे आ गया? उसके बाद हम 2021 में हम स्पेन से भी पिछड़ गए. अब धीरे धीरे अगर, एंड इफ यू सी द ब्यूटी ऑफ इट, शेयर ऑफ चाइना इज डिक्लाइनिंग. सर एपीसी टीम जापान गई, एपीसी टीम ऑस्ट्रेलिया गई, एपीसी टीम रशिया से बात कर रही है, ब्राजील से बात कर रही है, कोलंबिया से बात कर रही है. हर आदमी चाइना से दुखी है, for whatever reason that all of us are aware. तो इस चाइना के डिक्लाइन का, अब आप देखिए चाइना 32% से घट के 30 पे आ गया. लेकिन इसका फायदा इंडिया को क्यों नहीं मिल रहा है? इसका फायदा तो बांग्लादेश 7 से 8 पहुंच गया, वियतनाम 5 से, then you see all these countries, Turkey is, all these countries are taking advantage of the fall of China. This is the best time as government, as council, as export hubs. We have a land full of opportunities. आप देखिए ना, जापान में जब मैंने स्लाइड दिखाई, they were so excited that आपके पास रॉ मटेरियल का इतना बेहतरीन रॉ मटेरियल अवेलेबल है कि कोविड में अगर चाइना में लॉकडाउन भी हो गया तो आपकी सप्लाई चेन रुकेगी नहीं. They got so excited to know India was a land of cotton, India was a land of jute, India was a land of silk. We are technical textile, viscose, polyester, nylon, acrylic. We have the PPE kit producer, we have the spinning capacity, we have innovations in pattern marking. So we have the shortest lead times in the world with 95% raw material and value chain within the country. इतना बड़ा strength होने के बावजूद मैं $40 बिलियन नहीं कर पा रहा हूँ with so much of free trade agreement. कल तक हम इस बात कर होते थे सर, हम यूएस में इसलिए अच्छा नहीं कर पा रहे हैं क्योंकि बांग्लादेश is entering at 0%. And we are entering at 12%. 12% का गेम तो बहुत बड़ा गेम है. I challenge you, sir. अगर यही गेम इतना बड़ा होता तो जापान अग्रीमेंट हमने साइन करे 10 साल हो गए. जापान में एक्सपोर्ट क्यों नहीं बढ़ा? तो सरकार ने अपना काम कर दिया है. उसने एफटीए साइन कर दिया, 0% भी कर दिया. आपको डीजीएफटी ने स्कीम्स भी बता दी, ये बेनिफिट वो बेनिफिट. अब पीएम मित्रा भी लॉन्च हो गया, पीएलआई भी लॉन्च हो गया, एफटीए भी साइन हो गया. गवर्नमेंट हैज डन व्हाट दे हैव टू. Trust me, all my speakers sitting here are eminent speakers, world famous speakers. What we are now going to enter is government has done the job. Now it is the industry who has to tell what they have to do. So what AEPC is trying to help you friends, short run mein, we will help you promote your exports to the traditional markets of US and Europe, right? At the same time, we have to work parallelly on a long run strategy, which means that क्या मैं रशिया explore कर सकता हूँ, क्या मैं साउथ अफ्रीका एक्सप्लोर कर सकता हूँ, क्या मैं एशियन मार्केट एक्सप्लोर कर सकता हूँ। फिर आप पूछोगे मैम इस मार्केट में क्यों जाए, उसका रीजन भी है सर। अब आप देखो सर, अगर यूएस में टारगेट करना है सर, एईपीसी मार्केट इंटेलिजेंस सेल सर हैप्पी टू शेयर वी हैव अ रिगरस मार्केट इंटेलिजेंस सेल जो एचएस कोड बाय एचएस कोड आपके लिए मैच कर रहा है कि उसी यूएस मार्केट में मेरा 5% शेयर बढ़ क्यों नहीं पा रहा है। नाउ द मार्केट इज रेडी टू बाय फ्रॉम यू, लेकिन आप वो बेच ही नहीं रहे हो जो उस मार्केट को सबसे ज्यादा चाहिए। सर ये आपके सामने है। I'm so sorry for this small font, but I'll share this presentation with you. What AEPC has done. सर हमने हर मार्केट में exactly buyer को क्या चाहिए ये मैप किया है, and I was so surprised to see जो उस buyer को चाहिए वो हम सप्लाई नहीं कर रहे हैं। और चाइना क्यों 22% है, क्योंकि वो exactly वही सप्लाई कर रहा है जो उसको चाहिए। अब आप देखो सर, जर्सी, पुलोवर, कार्डिगन, वेस्टकोट, एचएस कोड बाय एचएस कोड, एक्सेप्ट फॉर कॉटन टी शर्ट, एक्सेप्ट फॉर कॉटन टी शर्ट सर इंडिया से 2 में फंसा हुआ है। 11% ऑफ द फॉरेन एक्सचेंज कमिंग फ्रॉम वन प्रोडक्ट व्हिच इज जस्ट 1% ऑफ द यूएस इंपोर्ट डिमांड। तो जो मेरा सबसे प्री प्रोडक्ट है उस कंट्री का 1% डिमांड है, तो मैक्सिमम एफटीए भी हो जाएगा, तो हम सिर्फ इतना ही मार्केट को ले पाएंगे। So this is the time for us, if we have to enhance export, we need more startups to work on exactly the product category that is demanded in that country, जो कि exactly मैंने देखा बांग्लादेश क्या कर रहा है, चाइना क्या कर रहा है, वियतनाम क्या कर रहा है, प्रोडक्ट बाय प्रोडक्ट सर ये लोग ऐसे मैप करते हैं और उसके बाद फिर प्राइसिंग पे काम करते हैं। So we need to see, it's not कि AEPC ने एक ईमेल डाला कि हमारे साथ मैजिक फेयर में चलिए क्योंकि सरकार सब्सिडी दे रही है। You need to evaluate, मेरे बगल वाला स्टॉल किसका होगा, उसकी इंपोर्ट ड्यूटी कितनी है, मैं 2 रुपए का दूंगा, वो 4 रुपए का देगा, ड्यूटी इतनी पड़ेगी। AEPC has already done this exercise for you। एक टी शर्ट की एक डॉलर की प्राइस हमने निकाली है, तो जो 20 या 30 मार्केट एनालिसिस हमने करी है सर, हमारी वेबसाइट पे सारी अवेलेबल है। Please write to us if you want to know about anything in any market. Please write to us. We will come back to you with specific demands in that market. हमने हर एम्बेसी ऑफ इंडियन एम्बेसी को लिख के लोकल कंसल्टेंट हायर किया है, हमने पर्ल एकेडमी के साथ एमओयू किया है। We have a consultants on board हर मार्केट के लिए, sir who is giving us a detailed market analysis। ये कपड़ा, इस कपड़े में इस जीएसएम का कपड़ा अगर तुम इस फेयर पे आ रहे हो $3 से ज्यादा का गया तो इस फेयर में मत आओ, this is not for you। So that is where the NAI efficacy will also increase। इसमें आपका भी फायदा, सरकार भी का पैसा भी राइट हैंड में जा रहा है। So at the end of the day सर, मार्केट में क्या प्रोडक्ट है वो मैप करना बहुत जरूरी है। It's not about just go and participate in the fair। Exact product, exact GSM, exact import duty structure is what we have mapped। आप देखो सर, सिंपल प्रोडक्ट, जर्सीज एंड पुलोवर, टोटल वर्ल्ड इंपोर्ट का इंडिया इज ओनली 6% शेयर। तो we have figured out for every product category, and then we said अगर टी-शर्ट, कॉटन टी-शर्ट सर दुबई में almost 33% market share is captured by us। In case of US, again it is the biggest share, 11% export टी-शर्ट का तिरुपति से सारा यूएस जा रहा है। लेकिन जब हमने यूएस मार्केट को देखा तो we are just minuscule of even cotton t-shirts। वहाँ निकारागुआ, होंडुरस, एल सल्वाडोर जो उसकी काफ्टा कंट्रीज है, वहाँ से टी-शर्ट क्यों नहीं बनाएगा, वो आपसे क्यों लेके जाएगा। So can we look into innovative ideas, innovative product diversification, innovative designing? For that we have done sir 5 steps, and I need everybody's help beyond these 5 steps। अगर हम कुछ कर सकते हैं, I need your help। Step number 1, I am giving you a cut to cut। अगर आपके पास capability नहीं है, as a council we are giving you a focused market product strategy। Number 2, economies of scale। We have price competitiveness issues, government has resolved it। Number 3, If your products have to participate in the international fair, we are helping you to realign your brand focus. I just share हम ये क्यों कर रहे हैं? सर तीसरी चीज, why China is more better in these countries? सर इन लोगों को इतनी beautiful story telling आती है सर, इतनी सी चीज करते हैं, इतना बड़ा पतंगड़ बनाते हैं. So we have to tell storytelling. I'll connect my session with my next session. What AEPC is trying to do? हमने कल तिरुपुर में भी यही काम किया था सर. We were in Tirupur yesterday. So India needs a very strong brand story. Somewhere we have to tell. और वो brand story मैं नहीं बनाऊंगा. वो brand story आपसे आएगी. कि मैं ऐसा क्या बोलूँ आपकी फैक्ट्री के बारे में. So technically, what is going to come here is very important. I had a meeting with a Spanish brand. They're very interested to buy from India. As an AEPC, we'll keep receiving these. Very, very interested to buy from India. And then they started saying, "Man, हमने सुना आपके यहाँ child labor बहुत है." I said, "No." We had United Nations Department of Labor coming up to AEPC. That we have heard, sir, India is still in GDP list. And then they're going factory by factory auditing कि आपके यहाँ child labor तो नहीं है. फिर हमारे पास next बंदा आया International Award Foundation. ये गोली चल रही है और अभी FTA साइन करेंगे और फिर ये चाइल्ड लेबर वुमन के नाम पे नॉन टैरिफ बैरियर. यू हैव टू बी वेरी कॉशियस अबाउट इट. यूरोप में क्या हो रहा है सर, उसने बताया हमें दैट इन अ कंट्री लाइक यूरोप दे आर सेइंग आपकी बैंक लोन अगर हम आपको देते हैं एज अ गवर्नमेंट, उसमें इंटरेस्ट रेट क्या चीज डिसाइड करेगी? इंटरेस्ट रेट डिसाइड करेगी कि आपकी फैक्ट्री कितनी सस्टेनेबल है. कंपनी में अगर प्लास्टिक बॉटल से भी पानी पिया जा रहा है ना, तो उसका इंटरेस्ट रेट ज्यादा कर दिया जाएगा. सो दे आर इवन टारगेटिंग टू दैट लेवल. सो अगर वी हैव टू ग्रैब द मार्केट शेयर एंड चाइना हैज already started its drive on sustainability. पानी का यूज कर रहे हैं, कार्बन फुटप्रिंट पे काम कर रहे हैं, वेस्ट वाटर मैनेजमेंट पे काम कर रहे हैं, एफ्लुएंट ट्रीटमेंट. कल तिरुपुर में सर इतनी सुंदर स्टोरी सुनाई दी. एक बंदे ने सिर्फ घास काटने के लिए 40 बकरियां छोड़ दी and he's got Google पे उसको टिक लग गया that he is a most sustainable company and he was sharing his story. The only thing he has done is that he has replaced his grass cutter जिसमें energy consumption बहुत ज़्यादा है to 40 goats to graze that land. Such an interesting thing है. Google has ऐसे पकड़ रहा है, उसने छोटी सी चीज का export में इतना बड़ा हवा बनाया है and it's just a small thing and he was sharing a lot of these stories. So we have another speakers lined up who will talk about climate change आपके लिए क्यों जरूरी है. अभी आपको बहुत थ्योरी लग रहा होगा, right? You are running after buyers. Let us together create an ecosystem where buyers run after us. That I am ready to pay. If India की टी-शर्ट मेरे को 2 सेंट ज्यादा भी पड़ती है ना, but I will prefer to buy it from India because this country gives me a lot of storytelling. यहाँ कार्बन एमिशन की स्टोरी सुनने को मिलती है, यहाँ लेबर की स्टोरी सुनने को मिलती है, यहाँ पे कार्बन न्यूट्रलिटी की स्टोरी सुनने को मिलती है, because जो दिखता है वो बिकता है. So if you give him good stories, he sell those stories. He's ready to pay you extra 2 cents for that. And this price competitiveness, the government is doing, PLI, this, that, वो आपको price competitive बना रहे हैं. But जो brand presence है, so what AEPC is doing, हम लोग एक sustainability award कर रहे हैं. ये मई में हो रहा है. It will be open to all of you. And this awardees, मैं आपको 4 step बता रही हूँ सर. ये हमने एक conference किया था सर. We are trying to go tell the companies that we are going solar. We are trying to tell the global buyers that we have recyclable packaging. We are trying to tell them that Indian companies are doing a huge water conservation projects. We are trying to tell international market that we have effective water management. These are just tip of the iceberg. Sir, मैं 84 Japanese buyers, Muji जैसे brand को India तक खींच कर क्यों ले पाई? Only because we went to Japan, we took an appointment, we spoke to them, we gave them confidence, exactly the same presentation, and they said, really? Your companies are renewable energy? We will come to India. Your companies are doing solar? We come to India. Your companies are carbon neutral? We come to India. We don't want to work with China. These were exact words of Tomoroka, Toshima, and all these companies. And I could bring them here, and 2 days we did excellent business. So please understand, please together with us as AEPC, as NAEC, as DGFT, we can support you. But the real challenge comes from the industry
How much are you ready to support yourself? And when you support yourself, you give interesting stories to me. I promise you for the next step, sir, I take you to the 4 steps. Number 1, you help AEPC to give your case study as a documentation. हम आपको फॉर्म भेजेंगे, आप वो फॉर्म भरेंगे, आप अपना फैक्ट्री का वीडियो मुझे भेजेंगे, हम G20 प्लेटफॉर्म्स पे वो वीडियो चलाएंगे, हम इंटरनेशनल बायर में जब भी मिलते हैं आपकी कंपनी को प्रमोट करेंगे. You help me those documents that मैंने ये छोटे छोटे स्टेप्स उठाए हैं, मैंने पानी बचाया, मैंने ये किया, I give you the goat story. वो कहाँ से कहाँ वो एक गोट स्टोरी से कहाँ से वो गॉड सर्टिफिकेट से भी आगे निकल गया. So please understand. So we are giving you a sustainability exhibition at AEPC. We will जब हम आपका ऑस्ट्रेलिया, न्यूजीलैंड, जापानीज बायर्स के वहाँ लेके आएंगे, we will give preference to companies who will give us the sustainability stories because that's what buyer is interested for now. So this is about, we are planning a press conference, a compendium. हम लोग आपकी stories को document करेंगे. Indian embassies में 200 markets में भेजेंगे, and then they will promote them to their buyers, and that's what is a total global effort for a brand perceptual change to pull the buyer. Let's stop running after the buyer. The buyer will be pulled by these brand stories. So I finish here, and finally I give you an opportunity to participate in a sustainability award. Now, you may not be Shahis, or you may not be biggest of the companies. Awards हर level के हैं, right? So आप award functions में, and we don't just award and finish at that. Those awardees will give an opportunity to participate and travel with us to the international markets, because then I know my MAI budgets are safe, and if your business work, my success of MAI scheme works. So I need to be very cautious. A taxpayer money, friends, we have to be very precise on how we spend. हम किस पे वो पैसा खर्च कर रहे हैं. It's not about taking anybody and participating in the fair. So we have to be very precise that this company is a real good company who knows what it will sell. वो मेरा market intelligence करेगा. Who knows how to sell, वो APC करेगी. But how to sell stories have to come from all of you. So thank you so much, friends, and I will now invite my colleagues here on board. I'll invite Nishad first. Nishad is he's a climate resource, guys. Friends, as I said, the climate change. Please don't think, sir, कि हम बहुत theory पढ़ाने के लिए आए हैं. Trust me, जो आपको हम next आधे पौन घंटे में बताने वाले हैं. This is an eye-opening session. इसको please हल्के में मत लीजिएगा. मैं आपको वहां से speakers पकड़ के लाई हूँ जो buyer मांग रहा है. So climate change is something that is working out. The world is talking about water crisis by 2030. We have Mr. Nishad. He's currently the head of business development at NN Green Service Private Limited. He has done his MBA in sustainability from Auckland University, New Zealand, and he has 16 plus years of experience in diverse industries as an entrepreneurial venture in a sustainability space. So sustainability is no choice, friends. Let's hear from him his experiences and what is expected out of the industry. Thank you.
Good evening to all the dignitaries from DGFT, AEPC, NAEC, and ladies and gentlemen here. Well, the speakers before me have sort of set the tone in the right manner, and I think thank you, ma'am, for the transition from the markets to sustainability. I think what I would want to start off is with this quote from Barack Obama, and I think very rightly said, we are the first generation to feel the effects of climate change, but the last generation that can do anything about it, right? So, yes, this is absolutely bang on to what we are supposed to do, and in fact, the tone is set right. Indian textile, and pardon me for the numbers, people here have sort of numbers on their tips. We put it out from various resources. We have about 1.5 million units in the apparel and textile space. The second largest employer at 45 million people, allied, industries to textile would be about 60 million, approximately 12% or 11.4% in export share and 12% of export earnings. Second largest exporter in the world, but we are at about 6% और India's emission में 6% का contribution textile और apparel का है. एक t-shirt 10.76 grams of CO2 equivalent produced करती है, and we produce close to about 16 billion of them. So अगर मैं multiply करूँगा, it's a massive number. Having said that, let's understand what is climate change. I mean, मैं basics पे शुरू करूँगा, and we'll go to a point where you guys can understand it from the business perspective. Greenhouse gas तब बनता है या वो इफेक्ट ये है कि जब कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड, मीथेन, नाइट्रस ऑक्साइड, नॉक्स, सॉक्स, HFCs, ये सारे सूरज से आती हुई गर्मी बाहर नहीं जाने देते और यहाँ पे ट्रैप कर लेते हैं अर्थ के अंदर, और उसकी वजह से एक फिनोमेनन होता है जिसका नाम है ग्लोबल वार्मिंग. राइट, वी हर्ड अ लॉट अबाउट दिस. So global warming, when we say, leads to a lot of side effects for us, and the impact on India is that our winters are warmer. I mean, इसमें कोई ऐसी चीज नहीं है जो हमें नहीं पता है. Our summers are very hot, and we have extreme climate or weather events that are happening in India. Right? इसकी वजह से हो ये रहा है कि आपके summers extend हो गए. We had a heat wave just about 15 days back, and the climate is different today. Change in rainfall pattern, और उसकी वजह से impact on agri outputs, and one of the most important outputs that the industry works on is cotton, right? So impact on cotton. We will also see energy crisis if this continues, and there are linkages. Because hydro power plants and thermal power plants need water, right? So if they don't have access to water, there will be an energy crisis. We'll also see an increase in sea level, rise in sea level. So the idea is that all of these impacts are very visible in India at this point in time, right? What we need to understand is there is a difference between climate and there is a difference between climate change and temperature or weather. Climate change is a very long-term effect. You may not see it on a day-to-day basis, but climate change is for the long term. The impact on the industry is currently that there is an impact on raw material costs that we know. Cotton prices, as I read on a report, we've seen that there are spikes in the cotton prices itself. In fact, also that we've seen that major other fibers have also seen an increase of about 30 to 35% of the cost. Manpower cost has grown by about 49% over 2015-16 cost deadline. And as all of them mentioned, China's slump is not India's growth. It is probably a shift to Bangladesh and Vietnam. And we've seen a lot of reasons for that, and one of them is increased focus on sustainability and circularity of products is something that is the need of the hour. If we look at the markets that we export to, and ma'am and all the other speakers also mentioned, let's look at world over what is the GHG emission and net zero commitments which will impact you as a business owner going forward. Aaj nahi, to ek saal baad, but the experience that we have is a lot of us have now started asking, aapka GHG emission kya hai, net zero karte ho, nahi karte ho. The reason being that a lot of countries have committed to net zero and GHG reduction for 2030 and a net zero timeline for each of these countries. Most of them are either big buyers from us or important markets that we want to enter. Right? So if we want to enter them, I think it is important that we understand the entry point At the entry point, the checkpoint will be, are you sustainable? Right? What is India doing about it? At a global, I mean, at a very high level. We have an energy conservation bill which has a carbon market to be set up. And I think we want to see this carbon market by end of this year or mid of this year. There is a non-fossil fuel usage obligation. Delhi, of course, we've switched to a greener fuel. We have renewable energy capacities that are being increased, right? We have industrial decarbonization plans. So recently I was at an event where we are talking about decarbonizing the steel industry. Right? Very interesting what the government take is on the entire stuff. Energy efficiency, of course, we are focusing. The PAT will now transition into carbon credit markets over a period of time. So all of this is being focused by the government itself. So कहीं ना कहीं ये regulations industry पे आने ही वाले हैं over a period of time, right? Recent budget we saw focus on green hydrogen, all the renewable energy sources that we could see of. But what we understand currently is that the SMEs are challenged on, there are internal challenges and external challenges. The internal challenges that we look at and which we believe are in our control are data availability, know-how, and skill availability. And I think that is something that we control. The industries don't have a control on what technologies or what is the finance and the credit available. But having said that, what we would want to suggest with the internal controllable points is a 4-pillar approach, right? We look at strategy formulation. We look at reducing your own emissions as an organization, reduction across the value chain, and take it to the community, as ma'am said, case studies that can be brought about and talked about. So when we talk of your emissions or the company's emissions, we are talking of scope 1 and 2. Typically, scope 1 and 2 contribute to about 20 to 35% of your overall emissions that happen, right? What we suggest is you should map your emissions, decide a base year. With that report, you will also identify hotspots where you can reduce your emissions. Decide on a target of reduction. I think only taking data or only measuring that will not help. With that data, short-term and long-term targets need to be taken. A transition plan has to be made and report publicly. I think what India misses, and with our experience and what ma'am also said, those छोटी कहानियों को बड़ी हमने बनाई नहीं. We see a lot of stories when we also travel, right, within the industry. So we'd expect that you report on what you're doing. If you talk about a value chain, which contributes to about 65 to 80% of the overall emissions of the organization, the first and foremost is to understand your value chain. Look at the boundary. What is the scope in which you're going to work on? Measure significant emissions within the category. If you look at Zara, if you look at H&M, they would prioritize you as a supplier, right? And the top 10, 15, 20 are approached first, and then the next layer, and then the next layer. You have to do the same with your supply chain below and above you. Right? Choose a common base here for all the 3 scopes. Decide on your target report. The most important is, I think, realign your strategy when you are going forward, because हमने 30% reduction का target लिया था, नहीं हुआ तो क्या? But it is important that you realign and evaluate your targets accordingly. Right? At NN, we're trying to sort of have a movement called Conscious and Continuous Change Towards Net Zero, where we have webinars. We'll also have broadcast. In fact, the last webinar that we had the gentleman from Vira 91 talk about sustainability at Vira. And we also want to publish newsletters that can go out to all the people. If all of you need a very sector-oriented approach, please do let us know, ma'am. we're more than happy to talk about sustainability in the textile space as well, and probably handhold people if you want. And that's me. And what we suggest is that it's a marathon. It is not a sprint, right? So sustainability cannot be a sprint. So small steps matter. Please report them. Please take those steps. And I think going forward, these stories will help us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vishal. I would request one thing. कितने लोगों को समझ आया ये? Scope 1, Scope 2, Scope 3. Very few hands, and I'm happy that at least यहाँ लोगों ने हाथ तो उठाया, right? Sir, international market में यही हाथ हमने उठाया था बांग्लादेश में. We went to see what Bangladesh is doing. Sir, 100% लोगों ने हाथ उठाया था. So the role of AEPC is next time when we meet, I would request मुझे सारे हाथ खड़े रहने चाहिए कि Scope 1, 2, 3 होता क्या है, और सिर्फ पता नहीं होना चाहिए. We need to document and tell. आज हम यहाँ हैं, 6 महीने बाद हम यहाँ हैं, तो AEPC is doing ISR 2023-24 Apparel Industry Sustainability Initiative. ये theoretical initiative नहीं है. निशाद जी जैसे we have a lot of these experts. हम लोग एक webinar series भी कर रहे हैं कि छोटी-छोटी कंपनी छोटे-छोटे steps लेके अपने आप को sustainable कैसे बढ़ा सकते हैं. ये webinar हर हफ्ते, हर Friday हम आपको एक webinar, एक कहानी सुनाएंगे कि उस बंदे ने उसका वीडियो दिखाएंगे, आप भी उसको इमिटेट करने की कोशिश करिए, and that is how together we can take smaller steps. So this is how we are trying to do. My next speaker is to share stories. One of the person who has raised the hand सबसे ऊपर is Mr. Karan. ये आप ही लोगों में से एक है. Let us hear from him from Amulya Overseas that what are they doing in their factories as smaller steps that all of us can do, and consider yourself very fortunate that you have contributed to a bigger cause. Thank you.
Respected chief guest, my old friends. We are talking about story. There are few buzzwords. Everybody was talking about sustainability. We are talking about ecosystem. We are talking about recycle. We are talking about all these buzzwords. But I request to all of you that there is nothing new about it. Education system. First, we have to understand that there is nothing at all new about it. We have to just revisit to our life and little further life to our parents. Let's talk about ecosystem. 80% of all of you come from village. I come from a very, very small village, agriculture background. In every village, there were an ecosystem. Just recall, there were natural ecosystem. Let's talk about water. Even we go back to our generation, that we even pray to the water, we pray to the river, we pray to the tree. So there is nothing new. We have to just recall, revisit our ancestors. If you want to talk about education, go back to 5,000 years back. We were the only one, we started the education system in the world. Now we are just getting influenced because somebody is talking about sustainability, somebody talking about ecosystem. We have to just go back to our root. Having said so, we are talking about telling the story. Let me tell you the story. There is a company, just 200 machine, 500 meter, have a sustainable factory. Not even a single drop of the water goes out when it's rain, because it's rain harvest system. It's solar panel, 32 kVA. Generator is run on gas, boiler is run on gas, tumbler is run on gas. There are 35% light which comes from a natural resource, and it's just a 500 meter factory. So there is a small story, and that factory exists, and that factory owned by me. It's only like we got We are the first textile company. When we talk about textile, we just come one thing in our mind automatically. Textile means pollution. It can be pollution free, trust me for that. It really can be. We are talking about today, this is the first time I'm speaking. I'm not a good speaker. I don't have any presentation, but we already made it and it's running. It's all the things is implemented and it's running very well. And it doesn't cost so much. It's just our concern to our motherland, to our environment, to our country. It's just required a very, very, very big concern. And we have to start with that first step that we have to have a concern. We are just misusing our water resources, our land, everything. But that start from a very small concern. And trust me, my friends, it's possible. When we are talking about big numbers, let me tell you a beautiful story that we made it. We have not told to anyone. And it challenges will come. My company name is not Ambuja Overseas. Ambuja Overseas was, I'm the founder of Ambuja Overseas. Then I had a partner. And the only thing we broke our partnership that I insist to make a building who got a green building certificate, and we are the first one. So that first storytelling that I broke the partnership, and the partner were my family member. I insisted. And the idea one day came because in our company profile, we were doing very well in 2012. Idea came, we were telling a beautiful story to a buyer that we are very well taking care of our environment. And one night I thought, what the hell I done about it? So that's how the idea came to my mind. I had no consultant. Now there are a lot of consultants who can help. That time, 4 years back, there were no consultant available. But I built the plan, learned from Google, from everywhere, and we are the first company in export house who got a green building certificate. We have a rain harvesting system. We have all LED lights. And when buyer come, I tell them, why you don't buy recycle? Then suddenly they have fear in mind. We don't want to pay more. I said, no, it doesn't cost more. When you buy the polyester recycle, just trust me, it doesn't cost so high. It's just only 10-15 rupees per meter a difference. And the buyer, then they said, okay, can you give the certificate? Yes, I said, yes, I can give the certificate. Sometimes it costs 15 rupees more. I tell the buyer, okay, I reduce my margin to another 2%. So it's not that easy the way I'm saying. I had a lot of struggle, but I had a very, very concern in my mind that definitely we have to do it. Somebody, a small step can change. I'll request to Mr. Kukral, he's not here. If you got a sanctioned land, so let's have another vision to that, because that's where we can tell the story. AEPC can tell the story, our government can tell the story. That we have one area in Noida where every factory is sustainable. We can spread, we can build it. Now we have a lot of people, AEPC is there to help, DGFT is there to help. So, anybody can tell the story, but please trust me. And there is no consultant required. You revisit your home. Sustainability, your mother buy the clothes for the elder son, then, when then second son can wear it. I'm not saying do that, but the thought process is same. Recycle thought process is same. And we were the one, like, lot of buzzword, CSR, corporate social responsibility. We are not realizing we are the first people in the world who thought about it. If you go to any small town, you will find a Garwal Dharmsala. You will find a Birla Education Center. You will find a Birla Mandir. You go to visit to Rajasthan. You will find, well, what is that? Only all these foreigner, what they done, they took our philosophy, they took our education, they just renamed them. Just trust me, ask me any question. Ask me any question, please, I request you, because I'm maybe not a good speaker or don't have a presentation. But I would like that, please ask me one question. What is one thing which your buyer thought about it, which we were not doing 5,000 years back or 2,000 years back here in India? So I request Mr. Thukural, if you have got this great opportunity to have apparel park, so just do two things. Let's have every company there who's sustainable and have a joint system where all the pollution come and you treat that at jointly, because in a small factory running a utility plant, uh, it's very difficult. So you can do that, and that will be a great idea.
We are making common.
That's a great idea, sir. That's a great idea. If any question anybody want to ask, please feel free. My story is that I had lot of struggle, but I made it and I'm running it. And not only getting a certificate is a very easy thing, but getting an award is a very difficult thing. We got a Swasthya award because our factory pollution level is just 0%. We request our buyer, we reduce our margin that okay, you take us organic garment from us, especially for children, and you take a recycled. That's all. If any question, anybody, thank you very much for calling me, ma'am. I was not prepared. My sequence may be not telling, sequence would have been not good, but I'm telling you it's possible. And it's possible. In my factory is just 500 square meters, sir. It's not a huge plant. And a small factory have to start, sir. Sai and all this factory can do very well. They can appoint a consultant. But that will not be a story because they can afford to do it. The story is that when you are not, it's challenging for you. That is the story. Yes, sir.
Sir, I don't want to ask you any question, but sorry, I'm Viraj Exports. My name is Viraj Bhargav. We are a very old company, a small company. And not a question to you, but I just want to share the passion that Mr. Gentleman has over here. Because as a boy, when I joined the business, we talk about sustainability, and 90% of our clientele is Inditex, which is Zara, and other brands like Pull&Bear and everything. So, these people actually taught us the sustainability factor a couple of years back, because they targeted either you're here, either you're with us, or you're without us. So we didn't have a choice, and we enrolled ourselves into sustainability, and now both of my factories are 100% sustainable, even to a fact that when we courier a sample to the buyer, the poly bag is a GRS recycled poly bag, which is making a small difference to the environment. And any fabric that goes from the shipment goes from us is all sustainability factor is all maintained. Even the water is tested in our factory. So I just want to share a small story also. As a boy, when I joined the business in 2009, we always used to see a milestone outside the factories where, when the kilometer has the milestone. So if you see in Noida, we have such a beautiful infrastructure that I didn't realize up till 2 years back that IGL, the gas line, is connected everywhere in Noida. Even the factories, far about factories in sector 65 or 67 further, which is going on over there, you can actually get the gas connection. And to us, now we all exporters over here, margins are day by day dropping. The only way to sustain is to lower your expenses, lower what you can do, and be sustainable. And trust me, our electricity cost or our diesel cost, which we used to do for tumbler, the boiler, generator, is come to 1/3, which is a huge factor. If you see, again, it's cost more. Multiply the same thing to 12 months, you'll see a huge impact. So we have a beautiful infrastructure, and I just want to share the same passion that about sustainability. It has done great things for us, and especially with rain harvesting and everything, we are focusing on that part now. And within 6 months, we're going to do the rain harvesting bit also. We've already enrolled for the solar panels. Unfortunately, it can't be 100%, so we're doing a 40%, 50%, and then seeing, because you have to have a space for your solar panels as well. But we've got a beautiful infrastructure. It's just, I think somewhere with the electricity department, when we're some little bit far behind in compared to other countries where, where you still see electricity going off, and then you have to unfortunately use your generator and everything. But I think that should be sorted. I think we've come a long way apart from that. So just a short snippet form to share the passion with sustainability and everything. I think it's a beautiful thing, and we've all got it at home. I mean, it's all there. It's just for you to grab it. That's all. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Another small thing, and another 2 minutes. There is something called PP ratio that you will not find anywhere. That's my own thought process. That's called plan to people ratio. So my request to all of you, it's just my thought process, not written anywhere. So have at least, if you have 200 people working in your organization, please, it's my humble request, have at least 400 plans. Maybe it's a small plan. So let's start initiative from here. We don't have any sustainability certificate. Trust me. Till now we don't have any because we don't need it. I done it for myself, for my sponsors, for my children. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Karan, it just came from your heart. You can see that. And I think it has touched everybody's heart. I can also see that. So I think it's also about emotions. It is also about commercializing those emotions in front of your buyer. So if you're emotional about a cause, let your buyer also get equal emotions, and let's commercialize this emotional sentiments that the world is now looking for. But how do you measure it? कल को आपने steps ले लिया. There has to be an index to measure it. That today I was at this level, tomorrow I'm at that level, and there has to be somebody to measure that. So we at AEPC is trying to help only good. Mr. Vivek, if you can come here, join the forum. Mr. Vivek is an excellent background, sir. He's a co-founder of an app called as Only Good, and he's a digital strategist having experience from US, Europe, and now he's come back to India to build this software to help you take baby steps to measure and then report back to AEPC, and we have a monthly and a quarterly targets to measure and report to the international buyers that this company was at this level, now it is moved to this level, and that helps us to understand the moves that you take. Vivek, can you explain about Only Good, please?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Pramanna. Hi, friends, dear guests. Thank you very much for this platform. So Only Good is a company my partner and I started about 4 years ago. The company was formally launched in April of 2022. My background is technology. I've spent a lot of time in financial services. I began on Wall Street in the US. I've worked on the tech side for banking, retail, manufacturing, amongst other industries. And one of the things I started to understand is that we are not doing enough in sustainability. So my partner who runs an apparel business, his name is Rajiv Sinha, he's not here today. We started looking at his needs as an apparel manufacturer, and what we saw is that once he started disclosing his carbon footprint, his business actually grew by 20%. So it's a myth, as some of the speakers said earlier, Nishad pointed out, that carbon disclosure is actually good for business. In fact, it's a huge ingredient that I think is missing from the India apparel story, the textile story, and for that matter, any of the export businesses that India has. So if you look at what the buyer wants, right? We talked to some of the Japan buyers at the RBSM recently, and they said, okay, we go to China because we get cost, we get quality, we get consistency, and that's what we need, and we get all of that with the ethics, right? And of course, there's a little bit of, ethics is questionable, but nobody mentions sustainability because they don't expect it, right? So the market has a white space for sustainability leadership, and that has to be in India, right? I feel that the inflection point is now when you see the stories in the room, as Karan was saying, and the gentleman in the back. Sustainability is not going away. Each of us has experienced climate change. It's not abstract academics, as Nishad's presentation also showed. It is very real. Just this morning, it was raining and cold. Now it's hot and sweaty, right? That's not normal. We are all facing it. Businesses will have to face it. Apparel happens to be the second most polluting industry in the world after oil and gas. So, I mean, that's the reality. So we can grow, but it cannot be at the cost of the planet. There has to be a better way. And if it's good for business and saves you money, why would we not do it? I think the leadership is open for India to take that step. China, Bangladesh are not doing enough. They're disjointed. They don't have the mandate or the commitment that India's leadership has, and the AEPC is fully committed to sustainability. The Department of Foreign Trade is committed to sustainability. So we should embrace this. So what I want to share today is how you can build this as a competitive advantage. So the problem we set out to solve is that carbon data collection is actually a fragmented exercise. If you have, let's say, more than one factory, you're going to have to collect data that you can use to compute your carbon footprint. The data is not complicated, but because apparel and textiles are technically laggards when it comes to technology adoption, they don't have the data competency or the experience because they're very labor-intensive industries. I mean, that's the reality. So how do you build that data competency in a way that's scalable and that you can actually derive some ROI? You're not going to hire some expensive, data science experts on your payroll and have them collect data once a month. It's just a complete waste, right? So how do you do that when your buyer says, I want a discount, but I also want you to be sustainable and report your carbon footprint and within the same margin or actually reduce margins? It becomes a challenge. So the only way you can do that is with technology. So instead of looking at this as a compliance headache, right? Why can we not flip this and look at this as an opportunity, as I was saying, which is now you can expand and build this into your brand story, sustainability by design, sustainability as part of your corporate strategy, and make this a business advantage. It helps you differentiate in the marketplace. These are still early days. Not everybody is doing it. If you don't do it, well, then you're leaving money on the table. The immediate benefit is the reduction in the cost of compliance. You are reporting, whether it's in Excel or somewhere, you are throwing some numbers out there to your European and foreign buyers. You might as well get some data behind it so that you can validate it. So what's happening in Europe is there is tremendous regulatory pressure. Any European company which is, for example, 50 million euros or more in revenue has to disclose carbon. And it has to be data-backed carbon, which means it's auditable. It's kind of like GST compliance. And the thing with carbon is, it's like, imagine if I said, take out the dashboard out of your car and just drive, right? You don't know if you're over the speed limit, under the speed limit, how much fuel you have left, right? That would be unimaginable, but that's what we're doing without having a carbon dashboard. You're driving without a dashboard. You don't know how you did compared to last year. Yes, you may have solar, you may be recycling, but if the recycling plant is 100 kilometers away, then you spend that much carbon and your carbon footprint has gone up, even though you may have recycled. So it's the numbers don't lie. Carbon is the only standardized part of the whole sustainability set of standards that the world has. Why? Because it's governed by the United Nations Charter on Climate Change, and every material in every region has an emission factor associated with it, which is how much carbon it emits. And the other immediate benefit you get is you start to optimize your energy costs, as the gentleman in the back said, right? Once they started on their sustainability journey, you're actually going to save costs because it's highly correlated with energy consumption. And the fact that you can onboard your suppliers upstream and downstream, have them disclose their carbon footprint, then gives you a whole supply chain that is green. So you can go to your buyer with no leverage. And then it's not just me who's disclosing carbon, it's actually all of my suppliers. I can collate their carbon footprint and show that to you. There's a tremendous leverage. So we're essentially a tech platform that helps you do this. What exactly we do is carbon data capture, analysis, ESG reporting, and then certification. So the way carbon works is you've got to first collect the data. The data is very simple. It's how much electricity, water you have consumed, what type of electricity, do you have waste, what type of waste, do you recycle anything, and do you have any data from your vendors and suppliers. So for example, if you have company-owned vehicles, how much do they run? If you have vendors and suppliers that you use to ship, then what is their carbon footprint, if you can get that. So Nishad mentioned scope 1, scope 2, and scope 3. So just very quickly to give you a sense of what that is. Scope 1 is your direct emission. What carbon you are emitting as part of your business activities within the operational boundary of your enterprise. Scope 2 and 3 are what are called indirect emissions. Scope 2 is, for example, you plug in your phone into the wall and you charge it. Now, that's what scope 2 is. You're using somebody else's produced electricity. Scope 3 is when you ship something by air, by ship, whatever the vendor is using through their business activities, that is scope 3. So scope 3 is of course hardest to measure because there are many vendors upstream and downstream. To collect their data, you have to ask them, they have to have the same system or similar system for them, for you to include that carbon footprint. So scope 1 and 2 is more common. Scope 3 is what few advanced companies are doing. The two standards mentioned there, the ISO 14064 and the GHG standard, those are the most common ones. The ISO standard refers to the process for how carbon data is captured, analyzed, reported on, etc. So that's encoded into the software. The GHG is the Global Greenhouse Gas Emissions Protocol, again the United Nations protocol that lays out the emissions factors or the equivalents of carbon for each material. Both of them are encoded in the software. And the first place to begin is start measuring the carbon. You get that verified, you get that certified, and then you have a baseline footprint for your company. The next step is then to understand what is the carbon footprint by type of product. So let's say you make 5 products on the same manufacturing chain. What is the carbon footprint of product 1 versus product 2? That's called a life cycle analysis. That's the second step after you've done the baseline carbon. This is what the dashboard looks like. There's a few screens, so not expecting you to read it, but I just wanted to make the point that the system does all of the computation for you. It gives you carbon by factory, carbon by supplier, carbon by location, carbon by a sub-vertical or type of product. You can compare and contrast, you can do a trend analysis, etc. The system does this for you because the data is all there. It's all collated. If you have more than one factory, more than one country, then it will do the math behind the computation. And of course, reporting. Data and privacy is important. So the global standards around data, the GDPR compliance is the strongest one, which is not sharing data without consent. So all of the data that we have is encrypted in the Amazon public cloud instance. You can authorize people to see data only that they are supposed to see, like a factory manager can only see their factory's data, a supplier cannot see another peer supplier's data and so on. But as the buyer for vendor services, you can see supplier data for all of your upstream and downstream suppliers, assuming they have also onboarded onto the platform. So I just wanted to also comment on, sorry, that's very hard to read, but I'll give you the gist of it. So the Higg index is popularly used. A lot of buyers expect you to report on the Higg index. I just wanted to contrast the purpose of the Higg index is very different from the Only Good platform. So the Only Good platform is, think of it as a Lego kit, which you can build on with different analytics, different types of emissions standards. As they change, the platform changes. The Higg index is supposed to measure the sustainable component of a fabric or garment. It is not a platform, it's an application. It's by its very nature, it's not extensible. The standards it uses are standards made by the brands that promote it. Many countries don't accept it now because, like Norway, for example, comes to mind because they think it's skewed towards technical fibers. What it also doesn't do is doesn't do life cycle analysis, it doesn't do prediction. So we have a machine learning component as part of the platform, which means if you give us 2 or 3 years of data, then we can predict when you open your new factory, what the carbon footprint will be. So carbon then becomes like a currency for you. It's not just the financial ledger that dictates your business decisions, also the carbon footprint and the carbon prediction for your business. So the other aspect is that the system is strong enough to read data from every machine. So if you have an electricity meter or a water meter on every component of your assembly line, we can read at that level and give you the carbon footprint even of a truck in transit. Most people don't have that because it requires sensors and devices. But suffice to say, if you have for a warehouse or for a factory, we can at least read the carbon at that level. So right now what's happening is the buyers are simply requesting, we have a choice, either we wait for the penalties to happen and start this then, or we can begin to use this as a competitive advantage now, and not enough people are doing it. So stop there. Thank you. And we can maybe take questions in the Q&A. Okay, thank you. Yes, please. Yes.
So, while I understand that this computes my carbon footprint, but number one, is your certification valid anywhere currently with any customers, any buyers? Are you onboarded anywhere? And number two, how do you verify the inputs that I put into your?
Yes, an excellent question. Thank you. So we launched in September of last year. We have about 25 AEPC members. So names you would know like Sagar or Matrix or Shahi Exports, etc. Affiliated, some small ones like Bridge Designs. We are also in other industries like packaging, EVs, etc. Because carbon is agnostic. The software is not certified. No software is actually certified. What we have done is the methodology that we have used to compute the carbon, which is the ISO standard and the GHG, that has been taken from the auditor's playbook. So the expectation is when the auditor comes to certify the carbon footprint of a given enterprise, we have a special auditor dashboard where they can go in and see in transparency what the formulas were, what the invoices supporting documentation, all of the process that the ISO lays out. So that is certifiable. In terms of the verification of the data, we have an MIS team that does verification of the data that is provided. But there's also a wizard in the system that when the data is entered, it does a self-correction. So it's semi-automated. And we can also read from an ERP system, which is CFO certified data from the company. So there's multiple levels of verification.
But that will only be true for scope 1, right?
Scope 1 and 2. Which is indirect, that is within the operational boundary, not for scope 3, because scope 3 requires you to get data from the external upstream and downstream.
Sorry, could you?
No, so scope 1 and 2.
Enumerate scope 2 as well.
Yes, scope 2 is, for example, the electricity that you use and the emission from it. So, like the machine emissions, you're using electricity, you have a certain meter reading. So that meter reading is what we can read. Now we can verify it because we read directly from the meter. As an electronic device, we can ingest that data directly, or we can read it from an ERP system into which that data and invoice is already gone, or that data can be input into the wizard in the system with the uploaded invoice, which we then match. So there's multiple ways of verification in short. Okay, thank you.
You know, friends, why did not you ask many questions? Because a lot of people are sitting here, maybe are not even aware about what Vivek was talking about. Trust me on that, right? है ना? ऊपर से निकल गया ना विवेक? So ये बातें ऊपर से निकलनी नहीं चाहिए, because आपका buyer यही बात सुनना चाहता है. So price से भी ज़्यादा important. Throughout the session हम यही बात बताने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि the world has moved beyond just 1 cent or 2 cent of t-shirts or products. So price से भी ज़्यादा important buyer के दिमाग में कुछ और चल रहा है. And if we do not gear up to what he is thinking, then we are left out against my competing players. So my request as AEPC would be that please, for God's sake, it might not cost you much, but appoint a sustainability manager in your company. Next time जब हम training करेंगे ना, तो अगर sustainability manager ही training attend करेगा, तो वो technical बातों को समझ पाएगा. जो आप लोग अभी सिर्फ aware हो रहे हैं, but उसको अभी implement करने की स्थिति के लिए the webinar that AEPC is now working, एक session planet पे होगा, एक session विवेक दोबारा करेंगे, एक session हम IDS के साथ अब next session करने वाले हैं. आज का session जो 5-10 मिनट लोग बोल रहे हैं, is only to tell you कि बाहर का दिमाग किस तरीके से चल रहा है. And it is a time for us as NAEC members, as AEPC band members, AEPC Bangalore, Mumbai, Hyderabad, हर जगह जाके ये awareness फैला रही है कि what India has to together do. My next speaker is Kamlesh. Please come here. Thank you so much for being here. We have IDH. It's a Danish company. Denmark's they have, and he has a wide experience on the other aspects. Sustainability is not about saving water alone. Sustainability buyer के दिमाग में एक और तरीके से चलता है कि अगर मेरे पास ये साड़ी फट गया, मेरा मन नहीं हुआ, मैंने फेंक दिया, अब ये कूड़े में जाएगा, तो ये धीरे-धीरे करके
जो गाजियाबाद के पास कूड़े का ढेर है, ऐसे ही कपड़े का ढेर हो जाएगा। सो हम इस कपड़े का क्या करें? इट्स अ वेरी सिंपल अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ सर्कुलरिटी जो बाहर के दिमाग में हो रहा है कि अगर ये लैंडफिल में जाएगा तो इसी को हम दोबारा सिस्टम में कैसे ला सकते हैं, जिससे कम से कम नहीं तो फास्ट फैशन से भी ज्यादा। अब लोग अगर साड़ी का आपने अगली बार काट के बाहर को बोला कि ये मैंने सिल्क का साड़ी जो बहुत पुराना था उसको काट के मैंने ये टी शर्ट बनाया है, तो आपको डबल ट्रिपल दाम भी बाहर देने को तैयार है। So there is a slow fashion concept coming up. We are talking to these buyers on every day basis, and we are surprised to see इनका दिमाग किस तरीके से चल रहा है। यूरोप इसको कैसे नॉन टैरिफ की तरह यूज कर सकता है। So it is a time for us to get up. All to you, Kamlesh, to help them understand this circular. Please don't be very बहुत बड़ी बात नहीं करना है, वेरी सिंपल की सर्कुलरिटी होता क्या है एंड व्हाट आईपीएस इज ट्राइंग टू हेल्प एंड अलोंग विद अस टुगेदर एज एपीसी।
Thanks, management. Thanks, AEPC and DGFT, giving this opportunity to present our concept and what we are doing. So basically, Ideas is not a Danish; it's basically a Dutch company. We are a foundation, not a company. So we are an international organization. We operate in almost 50 countries, and we have very strong footprint in the textile sectors, especially in the sustainability space. So we are in recycling, we are in the sustainability textile parks, we are working in Vietnam, Cambodia, and many other countries. So I will talk about few of the regulatory frameworks are evolving, especially in US and UK market. Next. तो जैसे तमन्ना मैम ने बताया, जैसे तमन्ना मैम ने बताया कि जैसे तमन्ना मैम ने बताया कि लगभग 55% जो शेयर है वो यूएस और यूके में है, और ये जो सारे रेगुलेशंस इवॉल्व हो रहे हैं, आप देखो तो 2021 के आसपास इवॉल्व हो रहे हैं। सो दे हैव देयर 2030 एजेंडा टू कम अप विद वेरी स्ट्रिंजेंट एंड स्ट्रांग रेगुलेशंस। यूरोपियन यूनियन की जो स्ट्रेटजी है 2030 तक, वो ये बोल रहे हैं कि जो भी प्रोडक्ट 2030 तक स्पेशली यूरोपियन मार्केट में आएगा उसमें 2-3 क्वालिटीज होनी चाहिए। एक तो लॉन्ग लिव्ड होना चाहिए, दूसरा वो रिसाइक्लेबल होना चाहिए, और मैक्सिमम एक्सटेंट तक वो फाइबर टू फाइबर रिसाइक्लेबल होना चाहिए, जो कि मोस्टली टेक्नोलॉजी इंडिया में नहीं है, हो सकता है यूरोप में कुछ जगह पे इवॉल्व हो रही है अभी। और उसमें हजार्डस सब्सटेंसेस नहीं होने चाहिए, और जो सोशल और एनवायरमेंटल जो फ्रेमवर्क है उसके तहत प्रोड्यूस होना चाहिए। ये सारे रेगुलेशंस लगभग एक ही बातें बोल रहे हैं। वो ये बातें बोल रहे हैं या तो ईपीआर हो, एक्सटेंडेड प्रोड्यूसर रिस्पांसिबिलिटी, मींस जो प्रोड्यूसर्स प्रोडक्ट प्रोड्यूस कर रहे हैं उसका डिस्पोजल और मटेरियल रिकवरी की जिम्मेदारी भी उन्हीं की होगी। So basically, it's a brand, and if it is brand, then definitely it's indirectly coming to the manufacturers. So if you can go to the sorry, thanks. Why it is going up? Thanks. So मैं वो लैंग्वेज बात कर रहे हैं, जो सारे फ्रेमवर्क रेगुलेटरी फ्रेमवर्क है, जो लैंग्वेज में बात कर रहे हैं वो ये है कि सबसे पहले ट्रांसपेरेंसी और ट्रेसेबिलिटी जो प्रोडक्ट होना चाहिए। तो जो मटेरियल हम यूज कर रहे हैं अपने प्रोडक्ट में, वो कहाँ से आ रहा है, उसका मटेरियल कंपोजिशन क्या है, और उसको हम किस तरीके से ट्रेस करके रिपोर्ट कर सकते हैं, स्पेशली मूव टू यूरोपियन कमिश्नर लाइक वेयर यू आर सेलिंग योर प्रोडक्ट। दूसरा है कि मटेरियल सस्टेनेबल होना चाहिए, वो विस्कोस हो, पॉलिएस्टर हो, या रिसाइकिल कॉटन हो, जो भी हो सस्टेनेबल तरीके से प्रोड्यूस होना चाहिए। जैसे मैं तमन्ना में बता रही थी कि जो अभी सोर्सिंग हब जो फाइबर्स के लिए डिफरेंट कंट्रीज को मिला करके बनाने की बात कर रही थी, तो जो कॉटन है, कॉटन स्पेशली जो हम प्रोड्यूस कर रहे हैं, तो मोस्टली भी इंडिया में बेटर कॉटन प्रोड्यूस हो रहा है और उसकी डिमांड भी काफी ज्यादा है, एंड आइडियाज वेरी इंटेंसिवली वी वर्क ऑन द बेटर कॉटन सिंस 2010। तो वो फाइबर जो है वो सस्टेनेबल प्रोड्यूस होना चाहिए, इधर कॉटन, रिसाइकिल कॉटन, पॉलिएस्टर और विस्कोस। कमिंग टू द एक्सटेंडेड प्रोड्यूसर रिस्पांसिबिलिटी, लाइक आई हैव एक्सप्लेन्ड, वो जिम्मेदारी प्रोड्यूसर्स की होनी चाहिए कि जो डिस्पोजल है उसका, वो डेफिनेटली वो ब्रांड्स और मैन्युफैक्चरर्स के ऊपर आने वाला है आने वाले टाइम पे। और थर्ड फोर्थ है ग्रीन वॉशिंग और ग्रीन क्लेम्स। सो ग्रीन वॉशिंग बेसिकली मैम जैसे बता रही थी जो पेट बॉटल्स है फाइबर्स यूज कर रहे हैं, यूरोपियन कमीशन इज वेरी स्ट्रिंजेंट अगेंस्ट पेट बॉटल। इफ वी आर यूजिंग इन आवर प्रोडक्ट देन डाउन द लाइन definitely we won't be able to tell the market in the European Union. ग्रीन क्लेम्स बेसिकली जो भी हम मिस्टर विवेक बोल रहे थे या मिस्टर करण बोल रहे थे, वो जो छोटी स्टोरी है हम उसको कैप्चर करके रिपोर्ट कर पाए दैट प्रोबब्ली कम्स विद द ग्रीन क्लेम्स। तो इट्स छोटी स्टोरी है, बेबी स्टेप्स है, लेकिन उसको हमको कंपाइल करना है, रिपोर्ट करना है, सिस्टमैटिकली करना है, देन ओनली विल बी एबल टू टेल द फ्यूचर मार्केट। इको डिजाइन इज अगेन लाइक उसमें कोई हजार्डस केमिकल नहीं होने चाहिए, और जो भी चीजें जो भी फाइबर प्रोड्यूस हो रहा है या जो सोर्स हो रहा है वो बहुत सस्टेनेबल तरीके से होना चाहिए। और रिसाइकलिंग बेसिकली इंडिया सरप्राइजिंगली इंडिया इज द बिगेस्ट hub of the textile recycling, and we have very robust system, but we are lacking because we are predominantly producing the chemical recycled cotton. We don't do the chemical technology. We have mechanical technology, we don't have chemical technology. Third, the human rights, health safety and the better environment, like I was saying, the जो waste है अभी तो पूरा linear है, it is going to either landfills, gets incinerated, and globally if we talk about लगभग 8% ही जो textile waste है वो recycle हो रहा है, बाकी का जो waste है either it is going to landfill or it is getting incinerated. Sorry, it's going up. I don't know why. Yeah, okay. Thanks. So जो रिसाइकलिंग एजेंडा है वो काफी तूल पकड़ रहा है। तो सारे ब्रांड्स ने पब्लिकली कमिट किया हुआ है कि 2025 तक और 2030 तक वो कितना परसेंटेज रिसाइकिल प्रोडक्ट अपने रिसाइकिल मटेरियल अपने प्रोडक्ट में यूज करने वाले हैं। सो लगभग मेरी मैपिंग में ये आया है कि लगभग सारे ग्लोबल ब्रांड लगभग 2025 तक 30% रिसाइकिल मटेरियल वो अपने प्रोडक्ट में यूज करने वाले हैं, और 2030 तक लगभग 50%। But we are lacking in the ecosystem. We don't have the recycled material. If you don't have recycled material, तो हम ना ब्रांड को दे पाएंगे ना ब्रांड बेच पाएंगे। तो बेसिकली we need recycled material, sustainable recycled material. और ये सारे ब्रांड्स रिसाइकलिंग को प्रमोट करने के लिए हाउ दे आर बैकिंग टू देयर मैन्युफैक्चरर्स। So I have quoted few of the brands here. Yeah. Sorry, I'm changing from here. Can you please change it? Yeah, thanks. So like M&S, Target, if you see, they are trying to back up their manufacturers and they are trying to be more transparent, and they are trying to report publicly like what are their commitments, what are their carbon emissions, so that people need to be aware about it and start taking heavy steps. I mean, all the stakeholders in the supply chain. Next, कुछ स्लाइड में मैं थोड़ा और कुछ बता दूं। आईडीएस बेसिकली सस्टेनेबिलिटी पे काफी काम कर रहा है। हमारे पास एक प्रोग्राम है इंस्टीट्यूट करके, एंड वी आर रनिंग इन वियतनाम एंड इन साउथ अफ्रीका एज वेल, जिसमें हम टेक्सटाइल इंडस्ट्री में जैसे करण बात कर रहे हैं जो हार्वेस्टिंग का, वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग का है, इवन सोलर का है, इवन इलेक्ट्रिक ट्रीटमेंट प्लांट का है। So we are very intensively working on that, but India predominantly we work on the better cotton, and we are now trying to build the alternate material accelerator program. There we are trying to focus to enhance the recycled cotton, polyester, and the man-made cellulosic fiber in the global supply chain. तो हमारे अगली स्लाइड में हमारे मित्र, हमारे कलीग को-प्रेजेंटर मिस्टर रंजीत रिवर्स रिसोर्सेज से हैं, वो बताएंगे कि हम किस तरीके से रिसाइकिल कॉटन को हम किस तरीके से उसमें कॉस्ट रिड्यूस कर सकते हैं, और किस तरीके से हम ग्लोबल सप्लाई चेन में उसको सप्लाई चेन बिल्ड कर सकते हैं और मैन्युफैक्चरर्स की हेल्प कर सकते हैं। सो रंजीत, ओवर टू यू। Ranjit, can you hear me? Thanks, yeah.
Nilesh. Thank you for the insightful presentation. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ankit. I represent a company called Reverse Businesses and I'm from Bangalore. Sandesh here, I said, President Secretary was here on the अगर हिंदी में बात करूं तो बहुत हो सके I might switch to English. Hope that's okay. So we looked at in the course of Kamlesh's presentation, we looked at how the regulations are changing across EU and across the US, and there are a lot of parameters that these regulations talk about. And one critical parameter in that is about traceability of material movement. In this particular presentation here, हम focus करेंगे सिर्फ एक पैरामीटर क्योंकि बहुत सारे पैरामीटर्स हैं, वो होगा traceability और circularity. तो मेरी जो presentation है, this will give you an idea कि हम sustainability को बड़ा एक गोल हो गया, उसमें focus करने का effort डालते हैं एक चीज पे. This will not only give us as manufacturers the benefit, it will also improve the entire textile recycling ecosystem. I'll go ahead with that. So here in this presentation, we are going to cover a very important topic, which is about textile waste. शायद उस एरिया को हमने बहुत कुछ शायद ना देखा हो इतने सालों तक, but this is becoming fast catching up the attention of all the brands across the world. They are looking at textile waste not as a waste, but as a resource. वो जाने की इस जो हम waste करें उसको किस तरह से utilize किया जा सकता है to the best value that. So let's look at this particular slide. Just look at just the left side of it. We'll come back to the right side of the slide as we go ahead. हम अपने बात करें सिर्फ cutting waste के बारे में. तो आप सबको ये मालूम है कि आपके फैक्ट्रीज में डिपेंडिंग ऑन आप क्या प्रोडक्ट प्रोड्यूस कर रहे हो, लेदर हो गया या कॉटन हो गया, डिपेंडिंग ऑन the market efficiency could be roughly around 70% to 85-88% maximum. In which case आप देखोगे कि आपका जो in-house जो फैब्रिक हो रहा है उसका 15 से लेकर 30% तक जो फैब्रिक है वो वेस्ट हो रहा है. तो आज के डेट में क्या हो रहा है मोस्ट ऑफ फैक्ट्रीज में 98% फैक्ट्रीज इन इंडिया कि फैक्ट्री में जो कटिंग टेबल में जो फैब्रिक कट होता है वो जो वेस्ट है सिर्फ व्हाइट कलर कटिंग वेस्ट को हम लोग सेग्रीगेट करते हैं क्योंकि उसमें हमको ज्यादा पैसा मिलता है. जो अदर कलर्स है कॉम्पोजिशंस है हम यूजुअली उसको मिक्स कर देते हैं. हम मिक्सअप करके 7 दिन में एक बार 15 दिन में एक बार हम एक ट्रेडर को बुलाते हैं, उनको ये अलग वेस्ट दे देते हैं. तो उसके बाद हमें नहीं पता कि वेस्ट क्या कर रहा है. ये जो ट्रेडर आपसे मटेरियल लेता है वो अपने वेयरहाउस में इसको सेग्रीगेट करता है कलर वाइज and composition wise also. चलिए कलर वाइज करना तो इजी है क्योंकि आपको कलर दिखता है, लेकिन composition वाइज सेग्रीगेट करना जितना भी आपका एक्सपर्टाइज हो 5 to 10% इनएक्यूरेसी तो उसमें आता ही आता है. तो जो आपसे जो ट्रेड लेके जाता है वो सेग्रीगेट करता है और आगे and he stores it like this. वो अलग अलग कलर्स अलग अलग कंपोजिशन करके जमा करते हैं और उसके बाद 2-3 ट्रेडर्स के थ्रू से ये मटेरियल जाता है बड़े एक गोडाउन में, जहाँ पे जैसे आप देख रहे हो एक पर्टिकुलर कलर का टन्स ऑफ वेस्ट होता है. वहां से जो बड़े रिसाइकलर्स हैं जो हमारे पानीपत में लॉट रिसाइकलर्स इन पानीपत इन डाउन साउथ एज वेल. So these recyclers buy materials from these large godowns. And what you can see on the screen here is the preparatory process for recycling, which is called shredding. आपका जो cutting waste है, वो एक shredder machine से होते हुए fiber बन जाता है. और इस fiber को mix करते हैं polyester के साथ और carding होता है, आपका draw frame होता है और फिर आपका open end spinning होता है. So depending on the type of the waste, your cutting waste becomes a reclaimed fiber and then becomes a yarn. So depending on the compositions that the recyclers use, this can become a yarn 2 or 4 count, which is used for totally different purposes. Reason I'm giving you this video example is to go through the challenges that are there in the system right now. Right now, क्योंकि factory से mix up होकर waste मिलता है, and it passes through a string of waste handlers. When it finally comes to a recycler, recycler is actually paying a whole lot more money to get the waste. And what he's getting is not traceable. Recycler को पता नहीं चलता कि material आ कहाँ से रहा, whether it's a good waste, whether उसमें RSL हो, recyclers have absolutely no ideas. So the solution, the sustainable solution that we are proposing here. So sustainability की जो बात करते हैं इस वाले एरिया में हम इसको सस्टेनेबल कैसे बना सकते हैं? एक तो तरीका है कि आप वेस्ट को जो है राइट रिसाइकलिंग तक ले जाए, that is one sustainable solution. Second is जितनी जल्दी हो सके मिडलमैन को कट करते हुए अगर आप डायरेक्टली रिसाइकलर के साथ काम कर सकते हो एज मैन्युफैक्चरर, that is sustainable. Third is आपको इसमें बेनिफिट क्या है, आप क्यों करो? Why should you do it? You will do it. There are benefits associated with it. So you look at the benefits as well, not only to you as a manufacturer, but also to the recyclers. So Reverse Resource is a platform where we onboard manufacturers onto our platform. We train the manufacturers to start segregating at source. Segregation जो word है, इंग्लिश में बहुत बड़ा word दिखता है, but actually जब आप करने जाओगे segregation आपके फैक्ट्री में, उतना मुश्किल है नहीं. The simple reason is on the cutting table जब fabric lay होता है, cut होता है, आपको पता है कि इसका composition क्या है, इसका color क्या है. आज के डेट में क्या हो रहा है कि आपने कटिंग करी, जो कटिंग वेस्ट था आपने उसको एक बिन में डाल दिया और उसको उसके ऊपर अगला कटिंग वेस्ट भी आ गया, तो it gets mixed up. All a manufacturer needs to do is the moment you cut a particular color which is 100% cotton, you put that in a bag and close the bag. आपका segregation वहाँ पे खत्म है. Moment you start segregating, we can understand कि आपके पास क्या types के waste है. अगर आपके पास 100% cotton ज़्यादा है या फिर आपके पास blend ज़्यादा है, accordingly we can then connect you as a manufacturer to either a recycler or just one middleman in between. So if you start interacting with the recycler, you can start realizing a higher revenue because अभी middlemen सब हट गए. So you can immediately start seeing a higher revenue for your own textile waste just by segregating. Second benefit here is you start getting traceability of where your textile waste has moved. जब traceability की बात करते हैं, circularity की बात करते हैं, जब landfill की बात हो रहा है, तो यहाँ पे आप रिपोर्ट दिखा सकते हो कि आपका जो waste है वो एक सही recycling use के लिए गया हुआ है. That means you are not doing any landfill. छोटी-छोटी चीजें हैं ये, but these are what the buyers are looking for in the next few years for sure. So benefits for the manufacturers here is you may start realizing a higher revenue. Since you can show the traceability of your textile waste, you can start scoring higher on your HIG index and environmental audits. आपके लिए एक अच्छा मार्केटिंग टूल है. आप बायर से बात करते हो तो आप दिखा सकते हो कि देखिए मेरा जो वेस्ट है वो सही रिसाइकलिंग इंड्यूस किया जा रहा है और ये This is a good marketing tool for you, and it also helps in circularity. और मान लीजिए आपका वेस्ट जो है रिसाइकलर के पास गया, and if you have an order for a recycled product, and if you are able to buy back the yarn from the same recycler, उसको circularity बोलते हैं. इसका मतलब ये है कि आपने जो yarn खरीदा है वो खुद आपके वेस्ट से ही है, मतलब आपने वेस्ट कुछ नहीं किया. These are the benefits for the manufacturers, and benefits for the recyclers here is अभी recyclers के लिए पता है कि उनका जो waste है raw material है वो कहाँ से आ रहा है. मान लीजिए आपकी फैक्ट्री से आ रहा है, तो they can be sure that this is good waste that they're getting, that it's not mixed up waste, and there are no impurities. So, and the recycler also with the traceability of the material movement. So these are the specific benefits for the manufacturers and for the recyclers. So it's like a win-win situation for every player in the ecosystem. This is a good sustainable solution. These are the benefits, just reiterating it. Fairer prices and a settled process for the manufacturers. You get to be part of the circularity story. It's a good unique selling proposition for it to showcase to brands. And to be counted as a sustainable organization, जैसे Dr. Rana बोल रही थी कि it's now these next few years are a time when it's not only the product, not only a product that would speak about you, it is also the measures that you take to ensure that you are a sustainable organization. So these are the small steps that we can take in this direction. आपको एक case study भी दिखा दे रहा हूँ यहाँ पे कि how a particular factory can start generating a higher revenue from their own waste. एक एग्जांपल है तिरुपुर से है, मान के चलिए एक फैक्ट्री है, उसमें 10 टन वेस्ट प्रोड्यूस होता है महीने का और उसमें 100% कॉटन भी है, कॉटन ब्लेंड्स भी है, सॉलिड्स भी है, yarn dyes भी है, प्रिंट्स भी है, एंड आज के डेट में वो ट्रेडर को बेचा जा रहा है। ये 10 टन में मान के चलिए 7 टन जो है वो 100% कॉटन सॉलिड्स है और उसमें से 2 टन व्हाइट कलर है, तो बाकी जो है वो आपके ब्लेंड्स और yarn dyes और प्रिंट्स है। तो आज के डेट में क्या हो रहा है कि ट्रेडर फैक्ट्री को देता है व्हाइट्स के लिए मान के चलिए 70 रुपीस पर किलो, आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट निट्स हियर, नॉट वुवन्स, निट्स स्पेसिफिकली, और मिक्स्ड वेस्ट करके बाकी जो भी आपका मटेरियल है उसको 30 रुपए पर किलो के हिसाब से देते हैं। एंड इफ यू लुक एट द कैलकुलेशन, फैक्ट्री नाउ अर्न्स 3,08,000 rupees in the current scenario. But if you start segregating your waste, then you will see that every color in 100% cotton has a different price, and it's much above the price that you're getting for a mixed waste. And you can see that factories have started realizing this jump in revenue just from segregating their waste. Revenue तो खैर बहुत important चीज है सबके लिए, तो that's the first benefit, and like I said, we have the other benefits as well that I mentioned before. So that was the presentation, and I hope there's some food for thought. I know it's about dinner time and everybody has food in their mind already, but some more food for thought for you. And क्या मुझे करना चाहिए is not the question anymore. I don't think there's a choice for manufacturers to board onto this bandwagon of following sustainable practices and getting into this journey to showcase yourself and the country, industry and the country as a sustainable source for brands to source. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Any questions?
And these are the contact details. This is Kamlesh. Kamlesh, this is me. In case you have any questions, even later, I know Sudhir can be along for all of you. If you have any questions later, please do feel free to write in, and we're more than happy to respond. Thank you.
Rajit, there are certain questions.
Sorry,
Can you hear us? Rajit, can you hear us?
I can hear you, but I can't hear the.
No.
Mic to them.
Acha, okay. Okay, so I think we have this. Any questions for Rajit? Rajit, we'll compile the questions and we will circulate it to you, and we'll also circulate your contact details to all the speakers and all these other speakers as well. So that was the final presentation. We'll quickly go around for a quick Q&A session for DGFT schemes. I'm sure there's a few questions on DGFT schemes as well. Yeah.
Myself, Ashok Redwani from Sao Exports. DGFT की एक स्कीम है स्पेशल एडवांस लाइसेंस, जो अंडर नोटिफिकेशन 45 के अंदर आता है। उसमें जब हम लोग एक्सपोर्ट करते हैं तो प्रोपोर्शनल ड्रॉबैक और आउटसाइडर भी मिलता है, बट यही इंसेंटिव आपको इंसेंटिव है ये उसमें नहीं मिलते जो एनुअल एडवांस लाइसेंस के अंदर हम लोग कपड़ा इंपोर्ट करते हैं। एनुअल एडवांस लाइसेंस की ऑब्लिगेशंस और स्पेशल एडवांस लाइसेंस की ऑब्लिगेशन दोनों ही सेम है, दोनों अंडर सीओ के अंदर आते हैं। लेकिन जब एनुअल एडवांस लाइसेंस के अंदर कपड़ा इंपोर्ट करते हैं और उसको एक्सपोर्ट करते हैं तो उसके अंदर ना ड्रॉबैक मिलता है ना आउटसाइड मिलता है, तो ये बेनिफिट भी एक्सपोर्टर्स को अगर मिलेगा तो उससे कुछ उनको फायदा होगा। इस एक चीज और, इसमें क्या होता है कि स्पेशल एडवांस लाइसेंस पर्टिकुलर ऑर्डर के अगेंस्ट वो फाइल करते हैं, तो उससे लाइसेंस की क्वांटिटी भी साल के अंदर बहुत बढ़ जाती है। तो उस कहीं के एक्सपोर्टर के जिनके 50-100 लाइसेंस हो जाते हैं, तो एनुअल एडवांस लाइसेंस से क्या होगा कि एक ही एडवांस लाइसेंस के अगेंस्ट ये सारी चीजें कवर हो जाएंगी।
As I understand, what you are saying is, annual advance license will be, आपको you should be able to get a drawback, like you get it special drawback.
Yes, because scheme same है, प्रोसेस सेम है, कपड़ा इंपोर्ट उसके अगेंस्ट भी हो रहा है, अंडर सीओन हो रहा है, उसके अगेंस्ट सेम एक्सपोर्ट हो रहा है, अंडर सीओन एक्सपोर्ट हो रहा है, तो बेनिफिट फिर सेम क्यों नहीं दोनों में?
So I understand. ऐसे special advance authorization was a different scheme specifically for textile sector. And annual advance authorization is not specific to textile. It is
No,
sector.
No, sir. When we apply for annual advance license,
Yeah, even textile sector.
Also garments.
Garments also you can apply for annual advance, but there's not a special carve out for textile in advance authorization. So to do that, maybe for especially for garments, a provision has to be made in an annual advance authorization. Probably we'll note it down and maybe we'll send it to the concerned policy section. They can review it. That can be included in annual advance.
Thank you, sir.
Any other questions? It's a fortunate moment to have everybody here at the panel. Please.
सर मैं रोशन कवरेज प्रदेश बात कर रहा हूँ। मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि आजकल कुछ टाइम से जो ROCTL लाइसेंस है वो ऑटो जनरेट हो रहे हैं, इवन सिंगल शिपिंग के अगर कोई 50,000 का 60,000 का होता है, तो उससे तो अल्टीमेटली हमें लॉस ही है, उसकी ना कोई वैल्यू मिलती है ना कुछ होती है। तो इसका कुछ ये हो कि हम उसको जैसे अप्लाई करते हैं वैसे अप्लाई करें।
गुड। किसी और को कोई सवाल पूछना है? कोई क्वेश्चन, कोई सजेशन? मैंने आज सर से रिक्वेस्ट की है, ये आपके लिए एक स्पेशल विंडो, आपके लिए एक स्पेशल ईमेल और कुछ हमें बताएंगे कि हमें क्या करना है क्लस्टर के लिए। आपकी कोई भी प्रॉब्लम होगी, किसी भी तरह की प्रॉब्लम है, ऐसे छोटी छोटी कई चीजें हैं जो कि आपको रह जाती, मिस हो जाती है, आप उस मेल में मेल डालिएगा, ठीक है? या ये हमें गाइड करेंगे कि अब कैसे करो। क्लस्टर में आपको देंगे, क्लस्टर में मेल डालो, हम उनको भेजेंगे और तुरंत उसका आपका जो समाधान है वो लिख लेगा। सवाल कई बार होते हैं कि हमें छोटी चीज मालूम नहीं पड़ती है, बड़ी मामूली सी बात होती है, वो तुरंत मेल का जवाब आ जाएगा और आपको बता देंगे। डीजीएफटी हमेशा हमारे साथ सपोर्टिव रही है, मैंने कई बार उनके साथ मीटिंग की है। आज आपकी जो नोएडा सिटी है वो सिटी ऑफ एक्सपोर्ट एक्सीलेंस है, वो भी डीजीएफटी ने ही की है, ठीक है? तो हमें डीजीएफटी से पूरी सपोर्ट मिली आज तक और आगे भी मिलेगी, और वो आई इसीलिए कि आपको हर चीज का जो फैसिलिटी आप नहीं ले रहे वो भी ले, उसको प्रॉपर यूज कर सके जो गवर्नमेंट की पॉलिसीज है, ठीक है? तो सर थैंक यू वेरी मच। आपसे जो मैंने ये अर्ज की छोटी सी बात, इसके लिए आप थोड़ा सा हमारे जल्दी समाधान निकाल देंगे तो हमारी सारी इंडस्ट्री, देखिए ये छोटे बड़े सब सारे छोड़ रहे हैं सर, इन्होंने 15,000 करोड़ की एक्सपोर्ट को 5 साल में 40,000 करोड़ में ले रहे हैं सर। अगले 3 साल के अंदर ये 60,000 करोड़ की एक्सपोर्ट होगी सर। अभी तो ये सब यंगस्टर हैं, इन्होंने अभी आगे बहुत काम करना है सर, पिक्चर तो अभी बाकी है, ये इसको और आगे लेके जाएंगे। जो हमारे मुख्यमंत्री जी की जो इच्छा है कि 5 ट्रिलियन 5 साल में $1 ट्रिलियन की जो इकोनॉमी करने की मुख्यमंत्री जी की, वो 3 साल में पूरी करेंगे सब लोग। तो सर आपका सहयोग चाहिए इसके लिए, थैंक यू वेरी मच सर। मैं रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा हमारे नोएडा क्लस्टर के सेक्रेटरी जनरल हैं मिस्टर राजीव बंसल, बहुत बड़े एक्सपोर्टर है, इनका अपना प्रिंटिंग की भी फैक्ट्री है और निट्स का भी काम करते हैं और गारमेंट के में तो ये मास्टर, तो मैं इनसे रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा सर ये 2 शब्द करें।
थैंक यू सो मच जलित जी। You were talking about DGFT. Yes, it is correct. In fact, हमने भी अपने office में whenever we had certain query related to DGFT, the current portals that you have, they are very self-explanatory and very responsive. So we query डालो, generally एक दो दिन के अंदर maximum उसमें जवाब query का answer आ जाता है. But yes, the other option which you please propose to now, एक email editor हो जाती है, quietly उससे और faster query मिल जाएगी. कई बार आपकी क्वेरीज के अंदर कई बार कुछ ऐसे एब्रिविएशंस या ऐसे यूज होते हैं, अगर उसको अवॉइड हो जाए तो समझने में आसानी हो जाती है. एक अभी लेटेस्ट केस हमारे ये हुआ था, माय शिपिंग आई पोस्टेड अ क्वेरी, उसमें प्लीज सेंड अ पीओआर, और पीओआर हमें पता नहीं क्या चीज है, तो इंटरनेट आई एम श्योर उसका भी आंसर आएगा. बट जस्ट एन एडवाइस कि अगर उस एब्रिविएशंस की जगह पे राइट कंप्लीटली इट विल मोर सेल्फ एक्सप्लेनेटरी. DGFT schemes, as I said, are now very much well done. Of course, queries चलेंगी, solutions चलेंगे, and they are there. And I'm sure government is working. Your notifications come very regularly. They are very self-explanatory, and I'm sure the intention of the government and our honorable Prime Minister is to make the trade grow. Today's session, as we heard, I came a little late, so थोड़ा सा मैंने शुरू करने से I'm sorry for that. But तमन्ना जी ने जो specially हमारे लिए eye opener दिया कि we need to understand what is the product which the buyer is looking for, not only what we are manufacturing. उसको हम study करेंगे तो definitely we will be able to improve and increase our exports. That's a food for thought. I especially note it down and what it that was a wonderful insight that it gave us. उसके बाद sustainability पे बहुत बात हुई. There were several speakers. Indeed, that was again an eye opener to us. But yes, ma'am, I would like to say, अभी हमें बहुत कुछ सीखने की आवश्यकता है. और in fact, when we saw asked people to raise their hands, there were very few. We realized that sustainability is needed. That is the future. How do we actually achieve that? What have we to do in our factories? It is easily said, ये data, वो data, but वो कैसे collect करें, कैसे present करें?
Yes.
That we need to understand, and we need sections on that.
Sir, I will request all of you. I will request. ये सिर्फ एक curtain raiser था, as I said, trailer है, और इसका sequel हर हफ्ते Friday release होगा. Every Friday, please एक घंटा निकाल के, please listen. हम हर Friday शाम को आपको baby steps बताएंगे with videos. That ऐसा करिए water के लिए, ये करिए carbon के लिए, so that it जो आपको लगता है सर easier said than done, वो actually it will be easily done.
Once understood, I'm sure it will be done.
I'm sure. It is all about getting accustomed to that, and उसको हवा नहीं बनाना है. It is nothing, as I said, sustainability is not a choice. And together, when you're working on pricing, you're working so much on schemes, FTAs. If we parallelly work on these things, I think it's a holistic approach to enhance our exports. With this few words, thank you, Rajiv ji.
One last thing,
Yeah.
I would also request you कि जो आपका weekly webinar जो आप कर रहे हैं, in case somebody is not able to attend it, तो उसको
हम record करके YouTube series बना रहे हैं.
Yes, that will be good. Thank you.
And sir, in case somebody would like to document their stories, हम लोग आपकी भी फैक्ट्री का वीडियो आपने वेबसाइट पे प्रमोट करने के लिए डाल रहे हैं. तो अगर आपको लगता है कि आपकी फैक्ट्री सस्टेनेबल है, आप AEPC को रिपोर्ट करिए. We will include you as a part of that series, and we will promote you in the international market. So yes, sir.
I just, ma'am, I know you represent AEPC, and it is great that AEPC is taking an initiative towards sustainability. However, this should not be linked to any buyer requirements.
Yeah.
This should be something that we should all be trying to attain on
So I
our
should give
own
some
for
clarity.
our planet and for ourselves. And it should not be linked to any buyer requirements.
I completely
And
agree.
everybody should definitely try and work towards sustainability in whatever manner they can.
Sir, I'm trying to capture them from all the angles. If not emotionally, then commercially. कहीं से तो कोई फंसेगा, right? So I'm just trying to get up. If not emotional, people realize करना चाहिए, but वो करेगा तब जब वो 2 रुपए में convert होगा. तो करना चाहिए is very important, but क्यों करना है? At the end of the day, there is a commercial interest also. As a country, if we don't do it, then Bangladesh is already doing it. So sooner the better, right? With these words, I thank all of you.
Tamanna ji, एक minute. Ashish ji is a very senior person of our Noida system. और ये लोगों के मार्गदर्शक है, लोगों को बहुत चीजें सिखाते हैं। ये आपसे उन्होंने बात करी, आप कमर्शियल मत लेके जाओ, ये सबकी ड्यूटी है। जो आशीष जी ने कहा, ये सबकी ड्यूटी है और सबको करना है और करना ही चाहिए।
Sir, we need veterans like you to drive this passion to the industry, sir. We really look forward to very senior people like you to drive the whole passion so that there is a cause attached to this whole thing. And we take you as our guide and mentor to drive this whole cause. Thank you so much, sir. You have to say something? Yeah, you have a question.
Thanks. So basically, we are working very intensively with the recyclers, and one of the concerns from the recyclers has come up. They are recycling it, but they don't have any specific HSN code for the recycled material. So they are very intensively looking for if something can be looked at the HSN code, probably they can convert it into some certification, and that probably boost their export, and the product that will be that will have the recycling material will have more potential to get it exported, especially in Europe and it is not. So it's more of the HSN code for the recycling material. Thanks.
I think it's any comments?
So you are saying like people are using imported recycling for it.
No, people are recycling it. I mean, they are recycling it in the textile waste which we are producing. They are recycling it. They are making yarn, going to the fabric, and they are exporting. So if you have HSN code for that particular recycling cotton, then I mean it has value in the industry market.
Let me just expand on that. For example, we do sustainable materials where we are, blending recycled polyester with recycled cotton and organic cotton. 3 fibers we are blending. Then it will just go as cotton poly under an HSN code and will not specify that, it is a sustainable garment defined under the HSN categorization.
A normal product, the conventional fiber, easily have recycled fiber. The two products, though they are the same from the same 100% cotton or polyester, but they should have a different HSN. So the ultimate customer clearly comes to. Am I right, Ji?
Yeah, actually, this is a very good suggestion since a lot of the incentives and the schemes are actually HS code driven. So then, if we have a segregated HSN code for such sustainable products, then we can incentivize the production of that as well. So we've noted this down, and this will obviously be one of the key suggestions taken from this meeting.
Maybe you can add a prefix or a suffix to the already existing HSN code.
Right.
Well, this prefix means it is recycled more than 50% recycled.
This is really a good suggestion.
We have one more suggestion.
Even the pollution control board don't have a category like recycling industry.
She's giving an precedence to the thing. Okay. Thank you. I think this was a very enriching discussion, and I hope you found 1.5 to 2 hours very valuable, apart from a great dinner waiting outside for you. And thank you so much, sir, that you spent all your time here, precious time to be with us throughout this journey, and appreciate the concerns of the garment industry and the global market. Thank you to Pras, sir, for organizing this at such a short notice. And for further vote of thanks, I would request Mr. Saurabh from DGFT for his vote of thanks, please.
Thank you, ma'am. Good evening, everyone. I would like to start the vote of thanks by thanking the 2 key people behind this initiative and this meeting. Firstly, Shri Gangadhar Panda, sir, who is additional DGFT, and secondly, Mr. Lalit Thugralji, who is president of Noida Apparel Export Cluster and AEPC. Both of them have given the leadership, the administrative support, and the conceptual support to all of us. And it is the joint leadership of both these people that we are here and we are having this enriching discussion among us.
I would also like to thank Mr. Nitish Suri, who has joined DGFT. The entire idea of district export hub and the idea of promoting exports through territorial focus of foreign trade policy, he is a key architect of the entire idea. I thank you, sir, for this support. Coming to the speakers, I'd like to thank Mr. Mithleshwar Thakur, sir, who is Secretary General of AEPC, for telling all of us how the FTAs are not an abstract idea. FTAs are actually meant to be understood and utilized by all of us. And I thank him for his sharing his experience with all of us. Next in order is Mr. Plani Fani Kiran, who gave a wonderful session on the DGFT schemes, and he laid out the institutional framework of these schemes in front of all of us, so that we can specifically select the schemes which would be beneficial for our products, and we can utilize them. Next in order is presentation given by Dr. Tamanna Chaturvedi ma'am. This is, see, all of us, one of the key takeaway from this session could be that all of us at the end of the day are humans. And as humans, we do not just care about the abstract, commercial and efficient aspects of a business. We also care about the emotional part of it, the sustainability, the aspect of it. And that is why narrative building and story building is a key part of a business story today, especially for businesses who are operating in international arena and who are targeting key markets like developed countries, wherein because of the nature of developed countries, the idea of sustainability have gained a lot of importance. I would like to thank Mr. Nishad Nanavati, who gave a wonderful presentation on the impact of climate change, and then he told us and he gave a brief idea to all of us how our businesses should be reoriented so that the climate change can not just be averted but can be converted into an opportunity for all of us to make our businesses more resilient and to show our care for Mother Earth. Similarly, I would like to thank Mr. Karan Ambuja and Mr. Viraj for sharing their passion with all of us about translating the basic concepts which our traditional wisdom tells us about sustainability and bringing those basic traditional ideas into our businesses and not reduce the idea of sustainability to merely technical aspects of it. The basic, the first idea is, as he rightly mentioned, the concern which should come from within, and once that concern comes from within, I think all the other aspects, the technical details of it, they become a mere formality for all of us. Finally, secondly, I would like to thank Mr. Vivek Mehra, who shared the ideas of monitoring of our carbon footprint and how that again should not be just seen as a mere compliance burden, but rather that should be converted into an opportunity. I'd like to thank Mr. Kamlesh Kumar Pal and Mr. Ranjit Sasi from IDH and Reverse Resources, who shared the ideas about how the waste generated from our businesses can be converted into important resource to generate revenue from it and again invest into our businesses. Finally, I would like to thank the technicians and support staff who provided us the basic facility and support to have this session here. And finally, and most importantly, I would like to thank all the participants, all the exporters who took out their precious time and made this session a success that it has become. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much.
This association on every week on Friday. We'll give you the series on. Your email IDs are with us. I hope everybody has mentioned their. आप सबने registration form भरा होगा. Please, if अगर नहीं भरा है तो please भर दीजिए because my mails will then reach you. And अगर आपके पास stories हैं हमें बताइए. Let us all come together for the cause that we have started today. Enjoy your dinner and we keep meeting. Thank you.